All right. So, there we go. Should be popping up here. Oh yeah, that's on a delay. So, they should be switching to us here in my little stream
All
window
right,
there.
now I've got it. All
And
right, there we go. The mine should
so,
start here in a few minutes.
yep. And oh, yours was already live. Did you restart it?
I did. I stopped it, and
Oh, okay,
I guess
perfect.
I should have done that.
So, mine has a built-in delay. I don't know if you wanted to add that to yours, but for everybody just tuning in, we're going to be I'm continuing my learning of how to paint Warhammer miniatures. Um, Joined here by the Hogan Works channel creator Jeff Hogan. He does a lot of amazing things. Definitely check out his channel for not only Warhammer things, tutorials on how to build, how to paint, all these sort of good stuff. But he's also going to be getting into other amazing things that he makes. Like he's a leather worker, he's a friggin' carpenter, he's a Renaissance man who's outside of the Renaissance, and instead of painting beautiful portraits and landscapes and stuff, he's going to be helping us painting some Warhammer miniatures today. We've got a fun new setup we're trying. So you have both of our faces, and then both of our hands, which will be, down here. Each of us, mine are, of course, going to be below me, and then his is going to be below him. And Jeff, what are you going to be painting today?
So today, what I have in store is I've set up some orc knobs. These were really beautiful models that came in. They're painted a bit of a dark gray right now, and I'm actually trying to follow what I've seen some more of the professional painters do. I'm not. I'm hoping to be, which is to paint these with sub structures or sub assemblies is the word.
Oh
So
wow,
what I've taken is I've actually gone through with some just some old corks that I have and some armature wire, and I've just super glued some of the pieces off onto their own sets so that I can actually paint them by themselves.
I'd still be
And
able to
not only
hold
does
them.
this exactly, and not only does that allow me to like there's an arm
Hmm.
to focus in on certain areas, but especially for like the bodies and so forth. Is this close enough? I can zoom in some more.
I will bring it up just a little bit, but it's not like
Sure.
super far away. Oh, I just
One
mean you can
second.
bring it closer to the camera. Or oh man, you are. I forgot you got the nice one.
Yeah, I have. I'm running a very nice camera. So yeah, so here we go. That's a bit better.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
these are Knobs bodies. They are just fantastic. I love all of the new Games Workshop stuff. I have plenty of critiques, but they produce some amazing miniatures. And then, the big advantage for this is that with any model, if I had glued on the pieces, which I almost always do, I wouldn't
Like
be able to
mine.
get to the chest to paint. Oh no, I have huge amounts of miniatures up right now that are just checking my focal range that are already assembled, and so like these guys here, which are going to be quite difficult
Ooh.
to do, but these ones actually do come apart.
Those
So
are
that's
those the
actually
magnetized ones or the ones that just fit snug?
no. These are the ones that actually have a peg, which is the first models I've actually seen with Games Workshop that do that. Um, so yeah, and then what I've done is I've actually used my airbrush to prime them up with this Vallejo surface primer. I've really started branching out to using what some of the really, really good miniature painters use.
Hmm.
For all of my life, I kind of, Games Workshop and Games Workshop alone,
Yeah.
and I love their paints and I love their stuff. But, there's a lot of tips and tricks out there that I was missing out on.
Mhm.
One of them, I used to always turn my nose up with the airbrush because I thought I had a really defined style, but this was 25 years ago. I have an airbrush now. I actually have a Harder and Steenbeck
Oh
that
wow.
I've been using,
Wow,
which
that's
I
pretty.
really love. Yeah, it's a very nice one, and it's actually been very, very good to me. And so I sprayed these earlier today with some of this stuff, and it's just this beautiful warm gray, which I'm really happy
Oh,
of.
interesting. I thought it was a green at first, but yeah, I guess that is a gray.
Yeah, now that I'm nice and zoomed in, you can kind of see it a bit better. Plus, I have green in the background, and so having something else next would actually
That's
help it
true.
a little bit. But it's a nice, dark, rich color. It'll be a great base. It won't take as many coats to put other things over top of it, and it will also stop me from being lazy. If the model is black, I tend to leave a lot of things black, so this will be a nice
Ooh,
change.
telling future you. No.
I know. So, what are you painting for today, Itch?
Me, I am just going to be working my way through some of the intercessors, just to get back in the practice of the that wet brushing technique that you showed me. So, just going through these different layers of green that we have available. So, going to be going through those and getting them worked up. I think what I'm going to be doing is probably batch wet brushing. So I'm going to basically be doing to this guy and then just going on to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. before I go into like the more refined details of doing like my inks, the highlight edging, and then all of the details like the guns and various things like that. So right now I'm basically going to be going on a warpstone rampage. As where I'm going to be starting out because all of these have been based in the Biltan, or sorry, Caliban green, and then hit with the Wog flesh, and so they're ready for that next step. Their main primary coat, the Warpstone Glow. Come on, there we go. See, this is why you get the good one. He's showing you exactly why. So, with that Warpstone Glow, we're going to be kind of transforming them into the iconic kind of coloration that you put on them. Raga. So hopefully by the end they'll look close to this guy. One of the this is still one of my favorites that you put together. It's just the first one, but still he just looks so freaking badass. You know, he's
Ooh,
got the
thank you.
gold highlighting, the cracked earth, and then you know he's got the highlights in all the right places. I love the black shoulder pads. I can't wait to get the transfers, and then you know a black gun here, and then you know even to his little purity seal. And so we're just gonna getting a bunch of that warpstone glow onto as many as I can today, and then I do want to show off because
Oh,
motorcycle.
very
I
nice.
glued just his back tire so I can do wheelies.
Oh, that's clever. That's well. I actually got myself some bikers for my Death Watch because I'm kind of getting bits. It's one of those situations where with the Death Watch, since their squads are so mixed,
Yeah.
that I want sets of like 1 to 3 models because I can mix them in. So 3 bikers means I can drop a biker or two in a bunch of different units.
Really?
Um,
God,
yeah,
that is
exactly.
useful.
It is
Because
really, really, really neat. I actually have not seen a battle report where they win. Um, but
it's
there, I think, but that's okay. Space Marines as a whole, I know are not doing really well right
yeah.
now, but I love them.
Although you know, new models coming out here soon might help it. You know, we've got the watch on what look like some sort of snipers, but they're more Primaris snipers.
Hmm.
And then we have that new Psyker, the hooded dude doing this thing, which all the there's been a lot of memes like around it. The
Hmm.
miniature have been hilarious. But the I don't know. Of course, as soon as the chaos stuff drops, it's gonna be hard not to go back to chaos because I'm like, oh, this looks
Oh
so
yeah, there's some
cool.
beautiful stuff. And I actually have to say, I've avoided Space Marines currently in my army collecting. I wasn't quite sure about the Primaris stuff. I wasn't quite sure about I really like the Xenos armies more. But the Death Watch, which actually Hitch said was the one that he was expecting me to get my hands on, 1D4chan has amazing tactical breakdowns. And one of the pros they listed for Death Watch is if you are a fan of XCOM, you'll love this army. And I adore XCOM because you can make every single guy exactly what you need him to be.
That's
It's any
pretty
different
damn
weapon
cool.
loadout and all. Like you could have jump packs and bikers and Terminators and regular Marines in the same squad.
I'm a little jelly of that, not gonna lie.
So neat. Yeah, so that should be fun.
Although I will
But yeah,
take my rerolls because Ty no roll well, Ty need reroll.
I know I think I have wound rerolls, but not really anything else. So we'll have to go from there.
Pretty good one.
I'm actually going to be doing some batch paint today too. I have these 5 guys, and what I like to do is go through and do all their flesh. Which the last batch I did, I think, was a little bit too subtle,
Oh yeah.
and my paints were a little bit thick. And I've actually since transferred my colors from the traditional Citadel into these bottle forms, which
Nice.
are fantastic because instead of trying to scoop them out into the airbrush, they now have these little tiny droppers. This was actually a really easy and cheap process. I'm very, very happy about this. And on top
Mm.
of that, they've all been thinned down with water, as well as some Vallejo airbrush thinner,
Ooh.
which actually, from what I've been reading, almost in any case, what a lot of people have been doing is they're mixing a small bit of flow improver into their water that they mix with their Citadel paints, and it has made life a lot better. So
Hmm.
I'd recommend this for you as well, Hitch, because I know
Okay.
I struggle with the consistency of my paints. And this has helped. And so this will be the first time that we try them. So we'll see if I goof these up terribly or not. But I will be attacking these guys with a mix of Waflesh, Warboss Green, and Moot Green for the highlights.
I've
And
got
then
everything.
I've got some Baltan Green as well to do some shading. But I noticed that someone was using the Strachan camo shade, which I believe I have some kicking around, so I may try that. The Biotan green is a very it's a very green.
It is a very green.
So it's perfect for a lot of things, but I was maybe looking for something a little bit different. So I was giving it a try. So I'll be batch painting through these. I'll be going through and hitting all of their neck stumps here. I zoomed out a little bit because I'll probably have the airbrush up a little bit higher, and I want to make sure everyone can see it.
Makes
And
sense.
then I've got arms and guns and heads and stuff, and I'm just gonna knock out all of the flash I can in one go before I have to clean the airbrush, and
Perfect.
then go from there with blacks, and we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, and you'll be pleased to see. Look at that! It's a new blade.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Are those ones that I sent you?
Yes. Yeah, they got here like Friday.
Nah, yeah, some of them were really, really long time in delivering. Um, I was going to reveal as well. I've sent Hitch a couple care packages with
Woo!
army stuff. I recently went through a phase of having some extra money that I decided I wanted to just put in a big pile and set on fire. And some of that burning ash I pushed towards Hitch. So Hitch, tell us what you have so far, and I will tell you what is going to be arriving tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm gonna pop my cam up a little bit for this. So one of my favorites is this Primaris Librarian, or yeah, Librarian. Where get back into focus, you piece of junk.
Oh wow, and he's plastic too. He's
Yeah,
beautiful.
he's this wonderful plastic model. I'll just bash it in. There we go. And so he's a psyker, and he's got that beautiful rune sword, and then just like
Ooh, wow,
all of
yes.
these. He's got lots of purity seals, and some belting, some lock things that I'm pretty sure hold bones. And then he's got a nice little purity seal like bunchlet on his back. There we go. And so he's just this really amazing model that Jeff sent me recently.
Wow, wow, very nice.
And then so he's of course not primered yet, but he will be entering the primering soon. Let's see. And then the biker already showed off, but these bikers are really badass. They're really fun models because the wheels spin. So like if you base them properly, you can do stuff like making them wheelie. What I'm thinking of doing is putting them sideways on their bases, a little bit like kind of. Let me show you. So normally they kind of sit just kind of straight like this. I want to kind of make them like digging into the turn, like tipping them just a little bit.
Nice, nice. I
So
like it.
gives it some action feel to it.
I have some bikers coming too, and the bikers that Deathwatch can have a lot of power weapons. So I was going to do the same thing where they're like leaning in with the weapon and
Oh, one
have
thing
a
I
little
would
bit of
say,
action.
don't glue the right or left arm, whichever one you want them firing with, because you can put any weapon you want in their hands.
Oh,
So,
nice,
and they just take regular,
nice.
marine arms. So they're very easy to add, like, for me, flavor. Like I could put like a flamer, or I could put like a bolt gun, just whatever that you have as far as that
I
goes.
was going to say too, you should take a look at Shapeways and see if they don't have any salamander iconography. They can do full shoulder pads, but I think they have to be put on. I don't know if they overlap current shoulder pads or if they go on separately, but you probably can get little printed
Yeah, they
icons for the salamanders and just stick them on there, and that would be pretty badass.
Yeah, and then I kind of have like all of the other stuff from before, but I don't know if I've ever shown. But like one of the things that I'll get to eventually is this amazing repulsor tank. This thing is just ridiculous. But
You
it,
got that, right?
yeah,
Yeah, you
this
got
one
that.
I got this. It's basically a mobile gun platform more than it is even a troop transport, but it works pretty nicely.
So
Let's
the story behind the set that I got for Hitch currently is that Hitch has more infantry in his Salamander's army than I've ever seen in a Space Marine army. Like it is a prodigious amount of individual soldiers, but he didn't really have any heavy firepower. So I kind of pushed him at the repulsor, and I think you've been pretty happy with that.
Oh yeah, the thing is
Um,
wildly fun on the table too. You're like, hey,
oh,
let me just
there's
roll
also
to kill.
yes, there's also a land speeder, but I think you're going to return that and maybe get a different one, right?
Actually, I'm still debating. Hold on, let me get the box so I can show
Yes, yes,
everybody
there
will
we go.
see
You can show off the
why
box.
I'm debating. This thing is. Oh.
But yeah, I was looking for some extra little emphasis and neat things that Hitch could use on the battlefield, and so I sent him a few little care packages with the psyker and the bikes and land speeder. Yep, there it
Look at
is. It
this
looks like
thing. It
yeah.
is
Apparently it's a Dark Angels
beautiful.
one, but you can do whatever you want with these models, you know.
Yeah, and like it's just so damn pretty. Like, there we go.
I bet you Shapeways has Salamander's vehicle sets too, so you could actually really make this look like a Salamander's land speeder as well.
The only thing I would the it's funny if the only main reason that I've been thinking about trading it in is because it's I could get 2 land speeders,
That's a good point.
and those land
Honestly,
speeders are
that
really
seems
cool.
like you probably should do that. All right,
Like,
so the big
oh,
reveal.
look at the friggin'
I told Hitch, yeah, I told Hitch the other day that I had another one last care package here, and I sent him one thing he's wanted for a while and one thing that would blow his mind. So, do you have a guess as to the thing that you've wanted for a while?
If I had to guess, it's nearly impossible with you, but I'm gonna go with because you remember stuff that I'm like, no one remembers that.
It's all
But
related to your Space Marine army, so I mean,
I'm
focus
gonna
it
go
there.
with
But yeah,
Thunderfire Cannon for the
with
thing.
what?
The Thunderfire Cannon.
The Thunderfire Cannon is one of
Yeah.
them. Yep, yep. And it comes with that Tech Marine that's really beautiful as well. So there's that guy for you. So Thunderfire Cannon. Now, do you have a guess as to the one that's going to blow your mind?
I honestly have no idea.
I actually, you know what? I'll do the reveal on my phone so I can actually like give you a picture.
Oh, dramatic.
Yes, a second here. Let's
You
go
mean
into Games Workshop. That's not the right one. There it is here. And let's get a nice big picture, and we'll catch Ty's look of astonishment, which it better be, right?
no pressure?
Because what you have coming
Holy
is
shit!
a Storm Raven gunship.
Those things are so pretty and so cool, and
Mm-hmm.
have so many cool
Mm-hmm.
rules. I will no longer
Yep,
have
that
trouble
is
getting people into
the
flamer range.
yes, that is the big one. That is
Holy
not one of the
crap!
smaller ones. I've watched some games where they have been just incredible. Striking Scorpions 82 is
Yeah.
one of the battle report channels that I really like, and their Blood Angels commander, he almost always takes two. Um, they are expensive, and I've seen them in games where I've only seen one game where it got shot down right away.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they get across the board. They unload a literal just, especially because I think
Metric fuck
Hurricane,
ton.
a metric, yes. I believe the Hurricane Bolters get the Bolter Discipline rule as well. And so
Holy
they
crap.
fire like 24 dice for their Hurricane Bolters. And they have Hurricane Bolters, they have rockets, they've got las cannons, they have a troop capacity, they move like 46 inches, and you can either do the transport boat or you can do the literal gunship. And so I just couldn't bear to think that Hitch was doing his tournaments and didn't have all the toys to be able to have the fun that he deserves. So
My
now
God, man.
he is armed to the teeth.
I gotta get painting. No, that is fucking crazy, dude. Thank you so much. Holy crap.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm excited too. It's almost like I have a flyer for my Death Watch. So the tanks I got for my Death Watch, I bought a Rhino for myself because it's a Rhino. You got to have a Rhino. I got a Land Raider because the new Land Raiders are pretty darn neat.
They are very cool.
Yeah, and I got the Specialist flyer for the Death Watch, which is the Corvus Blackstar.
Oh, that thing is so neat. So the Corvus Blackstar is one of those, like, it's basically his equivalent, like how this one was for Dark Angels. The Corvus Blackstar is just ridiculously awesomely cool.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Very, very happy. It's very powerful, very quick. I'm not sure what the rules are compared to the Thunderhawk right now. I think the Thunderhawk may be a little more shooty, a little more tanky, but yeah, that's all I got. Anyway, so
I don't know. I'm weird in the fact that like if the bottle looks better, it can be a little less. But as far as on the field, like I'm not even. I'm one of those guys.
I shop for wine by label as well. So
most people do.
Don't let the glove here so I can spray into my hand without
I'll go.
And yeah, let's go ahead and get painting here. If you've been sticking around this long, then thank you, and we will eventually paint. All right, so
it's
for
okay.
my airbrush, go ahead.
I said I put talking Warhammer and painting, so they'll know what to expect.
Oh, good. So yeah, once again, I have my airbrush in here. One thing I did get from the air hose was the quick release. which is almost, you have to have. If you've never used an airbrush before, it's a two-part mechanism. Basically, you push down for air and you pull back for paint. So, and the
Oh,
more you
neat.
pull back, the more paint comes through. There's a very, very small needle. In fact,
I've actually never used an airbrush, so I'm actually quite
yeah, well,
fascinated.
let's do a quick, I'll pull it out.
I'm gonna pop your screen up
There
for the
is
biggest.
a very tiny needle that runs through the air gun, and basically this blocks off another very, very tiny hole. And as you pull back on the needle, it makes the opening larger and allows more paint to come through. So there's this needle that runs down the airbrush,
Huh.
and that just very carefully slides until it hits the tip and goes through,
Just.
and then tightens down. And then I always check that it's working and put it back together again. And this is a gravity fed, which this actually has a lot of benefits to it. So this cup right here is where all the paint goes in. So don't don't turn your hand. But the
Ah!
really cool thing about this is that this one comes with a small cap, and when you push this on, it backflows the air up into the cup, which aids you in cleaning and mixing paints. So instead of cleaning it with each color, I'll start with the darkest flesh color, and then I'll add a little bit of the next one, do a layer, a little bit of the next one, a little bit of the next one, and just keep backflow mixing it.
Really?
That way, I get a really subtle gradation in my colors all the way up to its tippy top. And then once all the flesh is done that way, then I'll take it apart and get it a very clean and thorough washing, and we'll go from there. And then I'll probably start hand painting.
Wow. Okay.
Mm.
So I kind of want to see this loaded up and just to see kind of how it works. Me personally, I'll be using the good old brush. This guy right here. I've got a kind of a larger flat white, like a little whiter of a. I'm gonna pop my stuff. So it's just a kind of a wider, flatter brush for this particular wet brushing technique. And so what I'll be doing is basically getting a decent amount on and then on my brush, and then just kind of slapping it all over the model. Not really, just not as much as I would do if I was normally just trying to paint it, and just kind of brushing it out over like this, so that way that lower um, paint isn't completely covered. It's still in like the nooks and crannies, but is mostly covered. And that's what I'll be doing. All right, so back to yours. Look at it. He's loading it up.
This also saves you a ton because the Games Workshop pots. I mean, if you haven't noticed, if you open the pot one time, it starts drying behind the lid, and eventually you break the seal, then your paint all dries out. This doesn't happen with these guys. And so what I've done is I'm just pouring in some paint. It looks like it still might be a little thick. So what I'll do is cap that off. I grab my thinner here and put a few drops, because for an airbrush it has to be really thin.
Oh yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll grab my little yellow cap, and then you should be able to see
Oh whoa! Bubbles
the
back
air
and
is not coming
changes the
back up.
color. Gets a little back
Right.
darker.
And so I'm just kind of getting that mixed up a little bit, and then I'll continue to test. And what I'm looking for is any kind of splatters or bogs and so forth. So I'll just keep adding a little bit here. You always feel like you're doing too much, and then you're still like bogging down. As you can see, it also increases your volume of paint quite a bit too.
Oh, there you go.
That's looking pretty good. And then I'll just grab the first orc right here. And what I'm going to be painting is his neck stub right here and his kind of lats and arm socket. That's about it. So what I'll do, get this lined up and very slowly pull back. And then I'll just go in, and you might hear the compressor come on, so I apologize for that. And then are you picking that up pretty well? You seeing the changes? It's pretty dark still. Well, let me zoom in.
It's just a little bit out of focus, I think.
Okay,
there we go.
This should be a little bit better. Okay, so you can see the green coming in there now.
Yeah.
It's a really dark color, so it's. How loud is that?
Not unbearable.
Okay, good. Part of life with an airbrush, so.
Yeah. Now you're pinning where the arm's going to go and getting the shoulder or what all's there?
So this is the shoulder socket right here and his lat. And all I'm doing right now, actually, is I'm blowing air on it to dry it. So you can see how fast and quickly this goes on. And so then I will, and every time I'm going to spray it over here, it gives a block. And this actually, I think, is finely thinned correctly. And you can see I have immense control.
Wow. And then
And
you
there we
can
go.
push it with just the air in case it didn't get into a crack you wanted without even adding an extra layer. Wow, it looks like you're getting a nice, beautiful thin coat on that.
Yeah, and you can see from the priming, all the detail is there. Like it's such a masterful tool. I mean, and this actually is what
Wow.
sold it is your buddy Ferris,
Oh, really?
because I was like, ah, airbrush, blah blah blah, and then he offered to prime all of your guys. I was like, wait, priming them? And it has been a blast. You know, this doesn't smell. I don't have to go outside. I don't wreck. Put up the clog right there. I don't wreck my detail. It really is, quite fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that taking much, much less time. And I'm just loving the non-clogging the detail because I've run into a little bit of detail clogging on all the hand painted coat after coat after coat after coat.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably just a situation where you really want to thin it down. I think I'm going to need a little bit more thinner in this.
Always do 2 thin coats, unless you're using an airbrush, and then you're just good with 1 super thin coat.
Yeah, I'm going to need a little bit more thinner. And this is just a process. I mean, I know when you get better at this, obviously, more by sight. I guess the description is kind of like milk.
Oh, okay, I can see it. Not thick enough to be paint, but still. So thin enough that it's actually liquid, but thick enough you can't see through.
Right. Exactly. There we go.
Damn, dude, that is
Yeah.
okay. So for the record, how long do you think just painting that with a brush would have taken you comparatively to this
Um,
15 seconds a model?
I mean, it would have taken longer. I know that the other batch of boys that I did, where I painted 10 at a time, which I never paint more than 5 guys. I can't. I lose patience. I lose discipline when I paint more than 5. Airbrush, the compressor. So it went tremendously faster, and it was just much more satisfying. And that was for all of the highlights in the coats, not just for the base coat.
Wow.
And you can see how much control I have with this. Like I'm not overspraying it on
Yeah.
the other gray areas hardly at all.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised by that. Now, will you go back with a brush and kind of clean up some details, or are you just when you get to those parts even more control and like? Do you think you can use the airbrush purely, or do you think you still need a brush to go touch?
I don't. Well, for the model holistically, definitely have to use a brush. I only use a very small part of it with the airbrush. For the skin itself, I may go in with just a very, very, very bright highlight on the
Mm-hmm.
very tips, and I also want to put the ink on by hand too. So
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm fascinated. I should get started though.
yeah, you go ahead. I'll just kind of chunter along here.
Perfect. And then one really nice thing about this chat app is when you're talking, according to the way I'm looking at it, I like look over and visually I'm looking at your camera, and then when you're doing stuff with your hands, I look down. So it's like the Brady Bunch view where wherever I'm looking is what's actually happening. I think that's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. I like that too. It was a good idea. I had them in the other orientation, but this is much makes more sense.
Oh yes, and I forgot I'm using my wet palette for the first time. Really
Oh,
excited
good.
about this. So for those who don't know, wet palette, Jeff was explaining the benefits of this to me. It's basically like a regular palette, except for it has a sponge underneath it that will come through the paper and keep your paints wet longer, so you can actually get more out of your paint. And so it's another one of those nice cost-saving methods that you can do. When painting Space Marines, I almost always start from their feet up, so I can get back into the motions of things and everything like that. So you'll see me starting like always down here and just kind of going back and forth. So this is that wet brushing technique where you just kind of smack it on. Ooh, I got a little too much on there, so I'm gonna take it off with my. There we go. So just a nice back and forth, just covering everything. I think my paints must be too thin. That's okay. If it is, it'll dry, and I'll just add on a second coat. You know, say what you want about the Primaris. These models, so pretty.
Yeah, definitely agree there. They are very cool.
Just
Very
curious,
fun to paint.
did my argument for the Primaris help sway you at all?
Remind me who it was
It was
briefly.
basically, you know, the Primaris was the only way to fully remodel them, but lore-wise be able to let everybody keep their previous models and armies.
Um, yeah, that does make a bit of sense. Actually, I can't argue with that, especially since I own a bunch of them now.
Well, you can. It just, you know, there are so.
It would be dumb.
I was gonna say you're just not as comfortable with being a hypocrite as most people.
You just turn everything into a compliment. I definitely appreciate that.
That's what I do. I am. So, as you'll see me kind of working through one model, which will take me probably a little bit. You'll see the performance of the airbrush is not to be underestimated as he's moving on to, I think, what is this number? Oh, you're moving on to the arms.
Yeah, but I painted all of the shoulders and stubs and sockets, and so now I'm moving on to the other pieces here.
Beautiful. I really like this palette.
It's nice, actually. It helps to keep the paint thinned properly. It also helps keep your paint wet so you get more out of it. Basically, you know, anything to make it go longer and last longer, you know?
That's what she
Looks like
said
he did it.
somewhere in there that
Yes.
I'm not gonna be the first. Oh wait, damn it, I already was. So. There we go. See, this guy's starting to get that nice, bright, warpstone glow green that I really love about the salamanders. Part of one of the reasons
nice.
that attracted
Yeah,
me
nice.
to him is the nice, bright, beautiful colors that they paint their armor. That and
Yeah, for sure.
lore-wise, they've got to be one of the they're the closest thing to a good guy in 40K in my opinion. Not that there is really a good guy in 40K.
Yeah, seriously. I would say almost all Space Marines can count as the good guys. I mean, no,
Oh no, you'll have like different heroes for different factions and stuff. I just don't think like, I mean, let's face it, the Imperium of Man is horrific.
Yes, that is true.
And then you're like, well, then screw that chaos. Oh my god, that's horrific too. In really fun ways, but still horrific.
Yeah, they have great benefits.
It is the ultimate in meritocracy. All right, so he's looking pretty good.
Dark Eldar Society too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, looking really good, dude. Very nice.
To survive. And so, the back of his hand here. Then he'll be good for his first coat. I'll just reach into the bin and grab another guy to get started. So, yeah, normally in the past I have gone through each individual all the way through, but I'd like to get in the mindset and habit of doing more than one at a time, so that way I don't spend 7 years to paint one army.
It's difficult. I actually really enjoy painting one guy to the best of my ability, but yeah, same thing. You gotta have some kind of system.
Now this guy's cool. He's a lieutenant actually, so he'll be one of my first close to characters that I'll be doing for this army. As you can see, the main thing about a lieutenant is the pose on him. He's got that sweet one-arm pose. But so I'm kind of excited for him. He should turn out pretty awesome if we do him right. So again, I'll be starting at the feet here. Looks like your spray painting is going, or your airbrushing is going really quickly.
Yeah, it's actually, I have to say, it's a lot of fun. I'm kind of getting a little bit more brazen about, how much I put on at what speed. I think I've got my paint is getting a little bit closer to being thin.
Getting more to the artist tempo.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather
And
than
this
the.
actually makes doing some of these more complex and important areas, much more of a favorite.
So, I actually made this one leg really, really green, so I'm going to try to push some of that paint off of that and onto the rest of the model. One nice thing about paint is it's not dry until it's dry, so I can always get a little bit off here if you put too much. Kind of spread it around, push it different places on the model. I did end up doing a lot of that on
Yeah.
some of my previous models where I was just like, oh god! And then like either blowing on it a little bit to clean out some of the smaller grooves or just kind of getting
I've
it
been
back
totally
onto my brush.
I've been cheating because every time I get a little bit too much on here, I just go to the air and I blow it down and dry it. So you can't really tell when I fucked it up. Because it all sounds the same. As long as I don't go, crap.
And that is one nice thing about this hobby. I mean, it is pretty easy to not totally screw up a model. Like, you can screw up a lot of things before your model is like screwed up, like permanently.
I found out the ways to do it when I was a kid, though. Good lord. I started painting my first batch of dealers in second edition with
We're on
enamel
8th
white.
for anybody keeping track.
Yes, and with enamel white as a primer. The testers paints. Oh god. Hitch still has some of them because I gave him all my stuff a while ago.
No, I don't. not the Tyranids.
I didn't take the ones that were fucked up.
Oh. Really? No,
I don't
just
know.
kidding. No, I think I snuck them into the box before you left.
What's
fine.
funny is I'm actually starting to replace all of them anyways because the old. It's not that I don't want the old models. The new ones are much cooler.
Yeah.
It's because the old metal models are a pain in the butt.
Oh,
they're just so irritating that it's not worth it.
I can agree with that. And like, one of the big problems with the old metal ones is they don't stay together. You have to keep repainting them every time you sneeze close to them.
Yeah, that is true.
Or regluing them. I apologize, not repainting, but.
See, I'm still using that first bit of that green paint. See.
Holy crap.
My pot is still mostly full.
Holy crap! That only went down like 1/8 of a pot.
Yeah, it's nice.
Wow, getting used to this wet palette is interesting because it really thins your paints down for you very nicely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, actually doing it helps tremendously. I love mine. My wife actually got me going on those.
She's a smart lady. Shout out to Candace!
Oh, thank you!
Woo, Candace! Those of you who don't know Candace, we pity you. But one day you might get the pleasure.
You might be blessed.
Oh man, this guy's looking nice and green. And one of the nice features about these lieutenants is they have a skull on their helmet. And you can go back and paint them according to whatever chapter you're in, or you can just kind of get bold with it and give them their own thing, so you can be like a sub-chapter of a chapter. The nice thing about painting Warhammer figurines is Warhammer, there's no wrong way to paint it. They have the ways that are like consistent with the art, but you by no means have to paint anything that way. You can paint it however you think it should look.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of one of the nice freedoms you have. Like, for me, I'm probably gonna get that little skull on his head. I'm probably going to paint that probably a gold or a copper or a bronze or something. Rather than, it's probably supposed to be a white or a black or something, but I'm thinking that nice metal will make it pop really nicely. So that's what I'm gonna do, yeah. No.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I'm into the faces now, so they're getting their preliminary coat of green.
Now faces, that's where you really would, if you're using regular brushing techniques, really worry about the thinness of your paint. Make sure you got it just right. But the benefit of that air compressor, or the air gun, once again, you can just get it as thin, as smooth as you need. Not,
Yeah, in fact, if you don't, you're going to have a much harder time.
yeah.
Like I said, I think this is the first time in the last. I've only used this a couple times, but I have had, definitely difficulty getting used to that thinness of the paint, especially when you're looking at Games Workshop, paints, which they come very, very, very thick, and you only use a very small amount of the time, and then you end up, kind of thinning them down the way you want to use them. Just an example, too. I mean, you find a nice open spot. You can get very fine.
Oh, holy crap! I had no idea you could get it
You
that
know,
fine.
and then you can, like that.
Wow.
So it's really impressive. And of course, I am not a pro. There are people who do. When I was a kid, in let's see, I guess it was the early '90s or late '80s. There was like the heyday of like T-shirt artists for airbrush. Oh my goodness, they could do some amazing stuff. I think I probably had my air turned up too high.
Oh, you can. How would that affect it? Would it just make it more splattery, or?
Yeah, exactly. Too much air going through there pushes the paint around, and it's. I'm trying to paint really super close, and I think my air might be a little bit too high, but I don't want to screw with it because everything else is going so well. One thing about airbrush is kind of one of the cons is that every time you turn it on, you have to tweak it and get it kind of set up. They're very, very, very finicky, and I'm sure the better you get, the more kind of subliminal that
Feel.
becomes. Yeah, so it is. That is one of the things to consider when you're looking at an airbrush.
Okay.
All right, I got one more face here to do, and then I'll give my grot. I love this face. It has a diesel exhaust with a tube coming out of his mouth.
That's amazing.
Orcs. They can really be stapled back together again and still come back.
That is kind of one of the amazing things about orcs in lore are genuinely terrifying now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
and I love it too because they have, they talk about orcs having all these specializations and these cultures and so forth, and they finally actually give a beautiful story reason as to why that is. Essentially, orcs have really highly addictive personalities. And so whenever they find a particular way of killing that really gets them going, they want to do more and more and more and more and more and more and more of it. And that's why you get specialized orcs because they have very addictive personalities.
It's like, so why do you kill him that way? His best way. Yeah, but why? I don't understand.
Fun way.
I told you, his best, funnest way. Uh-huh. But is it really efficient? I don't... What?
What?
Why are you speaking like asshole? Oh, man. Wow, okay, so I think I'm getting close to most of my intercessors. Getting at least that base coat, so 1, 2, 3, 6...
I think I have my base flesh tone is now... oops, I missed on over here. Look at that.
Where's the rest of you? Okay, and then the sergeant, whose face is going to be interesting. For those of you who remember the salamanders, they have when I say a black skin tone, I don't mean like African American. I mean they have literally it is like the color of this handle, like it is, and so it's going to be really interesting painting them because they have that with these glowing red eyes from their Primarch. Vulcan. Primarch is basically their gene daddy. Their bio dad?
Their bio dad. Yeah, I wish that they had put in the Beast Arises Primorphs.
Oh, dude, those things are terrifying.
That would be pretty fun. All right, so now that I've got my first color down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Warboss green and I'm going to just put a few drops into my airbrush without taking out the Wa flesh down here. So my first transition will actually be a mix of these colors.
And you said that'll help it transition like smoother and everything like that. But is this just going on top of the code, or is it going in different areas? What are you going to be picking out with this?
What I'm going to be doing is, 1 second here. I'll just mix this so you can kind of see the changing color.
Oh wow.
Just getting this mixed in. I'm going to be doing something I believe is pronounced zenithal painting. The keyword being zenith.
Ah.
So as I put on more layers, I'm going to be painting and highlighting with those layers from a light source. Um, and then that's going to create this very subtle, very natural light shining down. And I'll leave the model will be a little bit darker lower down, although these guys want to be fleshed below their arms and stuff, and a little bit brighter up top.
Hmm.
And I'll keep doing this all the way up, maybe even with a little bit of a yellow green mix at the very end, just to hit the very highlights. And then I'll come back with a brush and really pick those out from there. And each one, like my, instead of being all over like this green is, it'll probably be more up and above, and I'll be covering areas and going that way. So we're going to
Oh
be
wow.
giving this
So
a try.
the angle which you're painting is going to be very important. It sounds like.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
It's fascinating.
There we go. Now it's nice and light color. Okay. So I think what I'll do is I'll just go back through these guys in the order that I painted them, and so let's see if I don't know how this pick this up. It's a little bit difficult with these dark colors, but what I'm going to try and do is just give a light hit on this green area here. It's going to be underneath, anyways. I'm going to kind of come up here, and I'm going to test this through. I'm very lightly going to just like that, and it's very subtle. See that little
Yeah.
latissimus muscle down there?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit lighter, and that's I'm gonna break him too. That's all
Oh
I'm going to do,
no.
because these are going to be fairly shaded areas anyways. And what I'm doing is I'm using my thumb to test my finger position so I know how much paint I'm going to be putting out. Just like that. And then I'm going to hit his neck right here, just from this top angle. Like that. See?
Oh wow.
Just very lightly hitting those, and that's all I'm going to do. And in fact, let's switch to a pair of arms here real quick. And so I'll make it a little bit more. So basically the light source is going to be coming down from up here. So I'm going to be painting a little bit higher up, and I'm going to be trying to catch just the top bits of his muscles here.
Oh wow. So just basically spraying the point so it catches on just the top of it.
Exactly. Just like that. And you can see it's very subtle, but it's really a great effect.
It is kind of
And
strange
I
to get
think,
used to it just appearing on the model though. Like it doesn't like you'd expect to see almost like a stream, like a paint stream or something coming out that you could see, but it's just kind of looking like it just appears.
yes, it is difficult, and it was very difficult to figure out where I was aiming too. But now, as you can see, like this is the arm that's unpainted over here. You can see how
Yeah.
monochromatic green it is, and then compared to this arm,
Oh wow.
see all the now the nice definition that's popping out, and that's really the goal. And I think, like I said, I finally have my paints mixed to where this is a possibility. And I have just the lightest little bit along his hand, just like that. And very, very, very pleased. Very pleased. I'm very much a beginner, but I am getting exactly the effect that I am looking for. And
Anybody who knows you knows you don't stay a beginner very long at anything, so you'll be okay.
I
Just,
see farther than other men because I have stood on the backs of giants.
you do research the crap out of anything. You're like, I think I'm going to try this. I read 7 books on it. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's go. My wife has now taken that as the ability to, hey, we should get into this, I'll just put some books in front of him, and then
See, she's smart.
he
Well,
put some
I
dinner
want
in
to know
here.
more about this. Hey, Jeff, what's this mean?
Yeah, seriously, all kinds of stuff, and then I learn it and bring it back, and we get to enjoy it. I'm gonna put a little bit more thinner in here, as I think I'm starting to.
That's amazing.
There we go.
Just curious, is she still of the mind of Dungeons and Dragons is for power nerds, or has she gotten interested?
Yeah, I have been desperately trying to get her to agree to do some battle reports and try out Warhammer 40k with me, and has not met with much success.
Not yet. I would have thought for sure that the Dark Eldar would have gotten her to be like, seems kind of
Harlequin's
up her
actually
alley.
is the one that she likes.
Ah, there you go.
Missed that hand right there completely. And there we go. Like, we're getting a really nice build up on these pieces. I am quite happy.
Yeah, it's looking good, man. Wow, this wet palette is really working out nicely. Like, my paints are staying super moist. But
Good.
actually,
Gross.
fantastic.
Oh man. I couldn't be happier with how this is progressing.
And for those of you who have never seen the sergeant, this is what he looks like. He's got that mad face, and he's pointing at you like, "Soldier, you better be getting your crap together, or I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna shove this in you." And then it cuts away because PG-13.
Puts his hand on the camera. Get out of here!
Get that out of my face, you know. Yeah. I can see that happening actually. So, get that camera out of my face. Or the recorder or the historian is like, "No, I got her. This is my job. Well, my job is not to is to keep you alive." You know.
The remembrancer.
Yeah, the remembrancer.
But I was sent here by the Emperor. Get out!
Yeah, well, I was sent here by the Emperor to do a job. You were sent here to watch me do it. And I
just want to put this on YouTube.
Yeah, you fucking streamer. You fucking streamers of the 40k universe. That's fucking funny. Oh yeah. So
I'm a little bit more brazen with this. Very, very pleased. Very, very pleased.
So your total army count came out to 4, right? Death Watch, Craft Worlds, Oryx, and Astra Militarum, right? So not to call them guard.
Let's see. Orcs, Tyranids, Astra Militarum, Death Watch, Dark Elder, and Craft World Eldar.
Well, the Craft World and Dark Elder can be considered one army, right?
Who's at the door?
There's somebody at the door.
Oh, they must have ordered food. Someone is delivering food. Family has ordered food.
Nice.
All right. Oh, man. Super stoked.
Oh, has your Padre adapting well? That's the shop and everything.
Haven't been able to get him out there. But you know, it was a tough year.
Yeah.
You know, he was full-time taking care of my grandmother for 10 years.
Yeah.
And coming back from that is
after that,
we just gotta.
After 10 years of anything, it's kind of hard to remember who you are without it,
well,
no matter what it is.
Exactly.
As always, give him the best.
I will, certainly. Yes, thank you. How's Mare doing?
Oh, doing good, you know, hanging out, working, doing the whole thing. I've gotten her to agree to another session of D&D, which is great.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, we're doing a little one-off of for her character's specific little culture, because She had to take a break from the regular D&D game. So in the regular game, she was trapped in a crystal. Like they just woke up and she was suddenly there was a crystal hovering above her bed that smelled like sea salt and um, and she was gone. And but they could see like and hear like the ocean through it, the crystal. So they
Neat.
know, yeah. So they know she went into the crystal. They don't know what happened yet. And then yeah, there we go. Woo, look at all these green boys.
Hmm?
Guess we're both painting green boys. No.
We are indeed. Very nice.
Oh yeah,
All right. I'm just finishing up the arms here,
nice,
and then I will swap over to the faces, and then I'll switch to the colors.
beautiful, beautiful. Oh yeah, here's what he was talking about. As far as the paint buildup on the back, like I have to keep ripping that off, or else the seal will be broken. Hey you, hi. Yeah, yeah, but it's a casual stream. You can come in.
Hello.
Jeff says hello. She said hello. No, not yet. What's that? Yeah, yeah. So I'll be right back. I gotta feed the pupper and say hello to my wife. But Jeff,
Sure, no
entertain the people.
problem.
I'm gonna
I'll go.
expand your hands on the stream so that way people can just look at what you're doing.
All right, so I'm just continuing to learn as I go through and just pick out the highlights on the muscles here. I think I might actually move the air compressor into the other room. I think I have enough cord to be able to have the air compressor in the other room, so we'll go that way. In the closet, I mean. in there. I think we're getting a little thick in there.
I am back. Whoa, those orc faces are looking good. I'm surprised. Your pace is just fantastic.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a little bit of a nice pickup here. Paint's a little thick, I think. I'm having trouble. Yeah, I've only got 2 more faces, and that'll be 2 coats.
Holy crap.
Like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to go over these guys again one more time with the warpstone glow, just because they're looking really good and a lot greener and everything. Like as you can see, like just comparing. This guy.
Oh yeah.
You know, okay, so they're much brighter green and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'll have to do a second coat just because some of them are a little bit patchier. I mean, my paint is of course a little thinner than I'm used to with the wet palette and everything, so that could be affecting it. For those of you who haven't seen the Citadel pots, they are kind of nice, other than the wastage. But they do have this nice little lip that that'll grab the paint for you. So you shake it up, put it there, and off you go. And I really need to get a more attractive painting service. You have this really nice giant piece of paper where you're testing paints, everything. I have a fucking Dixie paper plate with all these flowers and everything. I'm like, I just looking over and like, wow, this is shameful.
Just get some Bristol board from the art store is all this is, and it's.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Oh shit! I got rid of way too much paint right there. All right, so now I'm going to move on to the next highlight here.
Oh, so what's the next color in your highlight rotation?
So moot green.
It's for all them moots. Hey, I have a moot green that I'll be using.
Yeah, exactly.
For them highlights, yo.
Oops. And I'll get this mixed in here.
Damn hair from dogs and cats. Oh man.
There we go, nice and green.
Oh wow, that is a bright green. Gotta love it a little bit though. So for you, are you using it as kind of just like a delicate edge highlight, or is this gonna be like a?
This will be the final highlight with the brush. I think.
Well, that's good.
And yeah, it's gonna be the final highlight with the brush, and I'm just the tiniest bit right on the muscles, and so I want this to be very thin, because you can see how strong it is. I mean, that's actually a little bit too strong, actually. So let me, I'm going to add a prodigious amount of thinner here. So I want this to be just a very light glaze. And I may be wrong. This may not be a good idea to do this level of highlighting at this point with the brush, but I will definitely practice on their bodies here first. Oh, shit, boy, that builds up quick. Yeah, this is where some of the finer muscle control with the brush, where you actually are moving on and off quickly, is going to be required.
Got it. Quickly on and off.
Yep.
And the thunder rolls.
This is working pretty well.
Oh, whoop, this guy's a Hellblaster. I like him, doing my first Hellblaster. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, there we go. So it's
Oh,
very,
whoa.
very, very thin, very, very light. I mean, it's just the tiniest bit to get that. See it go. Oh, it loads up so fast. I want to touch, and then I want it to stop as quickly as possible. Get in there. Oops, that was way too strong.
Okay, I think this guy is actually missing a layer. I think he is actually still in the Caliban, not the Bale turn. Or the Caliban, not the Wog Flesh. Still, I think he might have mistaken. Yeah, that's okay. We'll just add a little extra coat for him.
All right, let's turn this down a little bit on the PSI. That way I'm not getting as much out at the same time. All right, let's see about this. We just wanted to just very, very delicate. Oh, fuck me.
You know what they say, the devil's in the detailing.
It is.
As lightning strikes.
Kind of where I started having trouble on my other badge too, but practice makes permanent.
Wait, what? Is that a baby making joke?
I guess it could be.
You love it. Like, hey, I found a context. Doesn't have anything to do with who you're attacking with, but I'm going to sign it. So, in your experience with the airbrush, would you ever go back to primering or basing another way?
Primering and stuff? No, I don't think so. Dang, this is still not quite right. One, this is fun. Two, I love the effects that it's been coming up with so far.
So it is quite effective.
It is very effective.
You can yell at me at any point.
These lighter colors are actually far, far harder than the darker colors, probably because the lighter colors are just so obvious. Oh, come on, stop getting caught. Oh, man.
You okay?
I'm not having good luck right now.
Do you think maybe you're doing? Is it the coat itself? Like, do you think it is maybe just you want a little lighter than it's going to be able to give you, or do you think it's just something that's going to come with practice?
It'll come with practice. Yeah, it's just going to come with practice. I just want the tiniest.
Oh man. Super happy we found this salamander coloring guide.
Yeah, for sure.
For those who don't know, this might look hard, but really it's just can be paint by numbers until you get into the airbrush stuff. Oh yeah, no, you just gotta wait around. She'll get cold. Yeah, our dog is refusing to come inside because of all the snow, and she loves playing with it. And she thinks if she stays out long enough, that you're gonna come out and play with her. So you just gotta wait her out. She'll eventually be like, "Fine, I'm coming in." Yeah, we played forever in the snow with her yesterday. That dog loves snow. She'll just put her face just right in, just like
Oh, that's so
like
cute.
she's trying to like breathe it in or something. Like, it's so funny.
Part of it may be too that it just needs this extra second to dry. Because I guess it does actually fade out a little bit in the drying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just all part of the learning process.
You know what they say, without mistakes, life would be boring and I wouldn't be here. No, nobody says that. It's clearly my brother who wouldn't be here.
Say what?
I said it's clearly my brother who wouldn't be here. No? I feel like I'm missing an intercessor somewhere. I don't know where. It's driving me crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, why would I have 9 intercessors? That doesn't make any sense. Great, now I'm all like, I'm gonna have to dig through the boxes and find out where the missing guy got to. That's okay. Alright, so let's take a look at this. Okay, they're all looking pretty good green. Because there'll be a dry brush on top of this that'll even highlight even more. I believe that's going to be not the niblet, but the moot green. Rah, 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 like you're actually doing right now. It's kind of funny how close the
Yeah, they're pretty similar, aren't they?
Hi, we're painting the same paints on different things to show you how cool things can be. Alright, so I'm going to be going go back through any like small detail areas I'm seeing that I maybe missed. Here under the shoulders, hard to get to, but I'm going to get that. And you want to kind of go through and try to get any places you missed before you start detailing, because like once you start detailing, you'll be like, you'll see them, and then they'll drive you insane, and then you'll have to go and get all your stuff out again, and then yeah, get that little spot, and then so it's very important to go through it and just try to find the things that are really gonna make you go crazy. Because if it doesn't drive you crazy, don't worry too much about it. But if it is, #1 priority.
Yes.
In my opinion. That's another thing. You'll learn what really matters to you once you're doing this. You're like, you know what? Do I care if this backpack is a little grayer than green? Yes, yes, I do. I'm obsessively going to paint it until it's all green. And these backpacks, they're respirators, right?
Yeah, it's all their breathing system and environment. Man.
Self-contained environment. Super important for human life. No. Get yours today. And one thing that, Jeff stressed last time as well is these lights cannot be downplayed in their importance of painting, because you can't see the spots if you can't get the light on them. And Jeff actually was also supplied me with this insane lamp that has a daylight replicating bulb in it that is just gorgeous, and why I'm so
Yeah, you
bad.
got to have good light. Without it, you're just
You're painting
really
in the
having a
dark.
tough time. Yeah.
So, do you have Warpstone Glow in your arsenal for the Wogflesh, or is it going to be too bright? Is it?
It's not going to be a color I'll be using. I do have it.
It's back to your arsenal. So, are you excited to With the Death Guard, for those who don't know, they're made up of all of the chapters. To
Death Watch.
basically be this, or yeah, Death Watch, not Death Guard. Death Guard are plague-bearing zombie
Different,
assholes.
different creature entirely.
I've got some of those. I actually have some painted even, which, I mean, fucking shocker. Did I ever show you those while you were here?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. I was like really proud of them. Like, ah.
No, very nice. Yes, yes, you did an awesome job.
Out of control. But yeah, with the Death Watch, they're basically this elite unit made up of all of these people who, for some reason or another, didn't quite fit in with their chapters. Usually a little too zealous about the rules.
Well, it can be that. Those guys are called Black Swords. Every chapter tithes.
A certain amount.
Yeah, for a certain term. There are guys called, I think they're called Black Swords, who they show up with all their armor colors burnt off, and the Death Watch doesn't really ask any questions. So they can be like the last remnants of a chapter, or the last remnants of a chapter that was destroyed, or that went rogue, or occasionally, maybe before the Horus Heresy, someone from a Chaos Legion got stuck in time loop and just showed up and realizes his legion is traitor. So he burns all the things off his armor, shows up at the Death Watch. The Death Watch are like, you know what?
We're not gonna kill you. Pretty much, if they showed anywhere else with like a Luna Wolves or something, they'd be like, "Well, you're gonna die."
Killed on sight. Yeah. I think I am done.
Nice. I'm actually finishing up here as well.
What I'm going to do is go through and clean my brush here.
So what all is involved in cleaning the airbrush? Is it a lengthy process? Is it just kind of like a blast water through it until it's clean, or?
For me, it's a fairly lengthy process because I don't know very well. You know, I just want to make sure I get it done properly, and so I tend to be pretty thorough. So this is an airbrush cleaning pot. It lets you just jam in the airbrush and keep the vapors and stuff in there while you spray it with the cleaner.
That seems wildly useful.
And then what I'll do is I'll be right back because I'm going to go into the laundry room and actually wash this out.
Oh, wow.
Before I come back, so I will be right back.
Perfect. We'll be here. And so I'll go and just expand my hand cam so you guys can see kind of what not that much. So you guys can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better, hopefully. But it's just like a simple brush job for this sort of thing. I'm just making sure I get this warp stone glow off of most everything. But one of the reasons it's a wet brush is because I'm not getting into every nook and cranny. So if you look in the backpack, I'm just kind of brushing across it. I'm not trying to get into the like little things, the vents or anything like that. Those vents being the wog flesh, that little bit darker color, it'll help give the model depth. And so I'm just kind of going over here with my brush, getting just a nice overcoat of most everything. So it has that nice bright salamander's green to it. It looks like Jeff is back, so I'll go ahead and put these back to their normal sizes. And Jeff will take us kind of through his airbrush cleaning process.
So what I do is I just wash it out briefly just to get the remnants. And I take the needle out and then very carefully just wipe the paint off of it, set it aside. Take the little bowl off. My father pointed out that an airbrush only bears a minimal difference to a bong as far as its design. A little bit with my dad who came up with that.
That's funny.
So what I'm doing is I'm going through and just trying to get this, a little bit of this cleaner on my rag here, and just give it a real thorough clean. I don't know the level at which it's clean enough, and so, or how durable an airbrush is, and so I tend to really try and clean it. Yeah, and so I've got a Q-tip here. I'll just kind of wipe out some of these areas just to catch
wipe
paint.
out.
Wipe out. Key skills areas there. And then what I'll do is I'll actually reach over and grab my airbrush cleaning tools.
You have your own. Is it these like tools specific to cleaning airbrushes? Like,
They are. 1 second.
oh, interesting. And did these come with the airbrush? Or wait, you can't hear me because you're.
Yes. So this is this little key ring right here.
Oh wow.
Actually has a number of brushes, and all I'll do is I'll take the smallest one,
And
and I'll just
are
in
the,
here and just try and clean it.
did this come with the airbrush, or did you have to kind of buy
They
these as?
did.
Ooh, very
Nope,
nice.
they came with the airbrush. There's quite a bit of goo in there, so I'll just go in here.
So if you had a chance to make it up to your local hobby shop, which for you is like a bit away, but
Well, there's one in Corvallis here. One down here.
boy, it's certainly there. No, is that kind of the feel?
Um, that I've gone to, and actually very nice. The guy who is the owner there is very nice. Obviously loves his hobby store a lot, and yeah, pretty good.
Very nice.
I'll go back one more time. I'm going to go in the sink again.
Perfect. And so, one of the fun things about painting models, I put fun in quotation marks, is every once in a while you find yourself having to paint the model's crotch, because I mean, the crotch needs painted too, and pretty soon you're thinking about you're holding a tiny plastic man in your hands, painting his crotch, thinking about life, going, huh, this is what I've chosen to do with my time. But not in a way that's like bad or that you have any regrets, just kind of like this self-refractory period of, I am painting a small plastic man's crotch. Huh. Huh. Didn't see that one coming. you know.
Okay, so. Huh?
It's just being ridiculous. I was saying about how every once in a while you find yourself painting a miniature's crotch, thinking about I'm holding a small plastic man and painting his crotch. That's where
What
my
does my
life
life
is
come
headed.
to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it happens to everybody. But it's all part of this badass hobby, and then the sense of pride you get when you finish a miniature and it looks just good.
Yeah, the sense of accomplishment when a unit or a miniature is done is pretty huge. I definitely get a lot of energy off of that myself.
Completely agree. Actually, it might be the best feeling in the hobby. Even
Hmm.
like winning is pretty freaking good, but like having just done an entire squad and they look the way that you wanted them to, and they just fantastic.
Very
Nice.
very pleased. Yeah,
Nice.
I
Okay, and
think
so
overall I'm pretty happy with the way this has gone. Definitely, some areas I like to improve and so on, but
oh yeah,
we will get these guys inked up, which will help kind of smooth out these areas and give them some nice shadows, and we'll go from there.
yeah. But I'm pretty happy. I got some more base painting done and everything, and so with that, do you want to wrap up for a little bit since you're kind of in your cleaning phase, and I've
Yeah, I
got
just
my
finished up that
these
clean.
intercessors. So I heard the compressor running. Did you turn it back on again?
It's automatic, so once the pressure goes below a certain point, it pops back on. All right, so that's the airbrush cleaned.
Yeah, beautiful. That didn't look very hard at all. Might be.
And that's like I said, the video they get really good at cleaning them up quite quickly, and so oh, we're getting accused of not watching our comment stream
Uh-oh.
because
I'm
of the way
watching
where
mine,
I'm.
but I haven't
Okay,
seen
good.
yours. I don't have yours up.
Oh, because the comments in mine, and I'm recording my screen, so I can't get a look at it.
Oh, okay. What are the comments? Well, we can address them now.
I don't know.
Let's
I
take a
guess I
look.
can actually look at it.
Yeah, if you scroll down, they should be able to tell you kind of what questions they might have had and what they were looking at.
Let's see here. Hogan works.
Wrap up for a little bit since you're here.
I don't see any.
Oh, okay. So there might have been. So unfortunately, one of the things about stream chat is you always want your stream up because the chat clears as soon as you refresh the page. So it's
Okay,
yeah. So
so I'll be able to look at it once we're done recording.
alright, so
So yeah, here's
anybody.
just a
Yeah.
couple.
Oh wow, dude.
Here's a review
Hold on.
there.
I'm gonna
So
pull up your hands into bigger so that we can see these amazing orc heads. They just turned
yeah,
out very good and very quickly done too.
that's pretty good. And
Hold
then
on.
what I'll do is I'll grab my ink and give them an ink.
There. Excuse me. Inking it up.
Yeah. How long did you want to stream for?
Oh, I didn't really have a full plan, but I was just
Okay,
gonna.
good. Because I've got lots to do. So I'm gonna see
Nice.
if I can find my
Straken.
camo shade because I want to give that a try for inking this today.
Oh, perfect.
If I can find it, if I even have it.
I'm gonna check one of my boxes real quick, see if that last intercessor is kicking around there. So I will be hide back once
Okay.
around.
Maybe I didn't.
Well, I'll be right here. You'll see me ruffling through the stuff in my closet. So I'll be
Okay.
right back.
Quelia. I don't think I got. Okay, so it's going to be Bile-Tan after all. Bile-Tan, there we go. All right, so now I want to switch over to brushing by hand here. So I'm going to move some of my airbrush equipment out of the way and grab my pot of water.
All right, so I found out where those intercessors got to. Turns
Hide
out,
from you,
yeah, they were actually these are the lieutenants. So those other two
Oh,
guys are
very
just regular.
nice.
So yeah, these lieutenants they have somehow though. Okay, I see what happened. So this guy is not a lieutenant somehow, but this guy is. So if you look, this guy on his belt. I don't know if you can see it. Focus, you bastard. There we go. There's
Oh,
a
nice.
skull on the helmet signifying him as lieutenant. Whereas this guy, who I thought was the lieutenant because he has all this dramatic pose and stuff, his helmet does not have that. So I gotta switch their bases here before I put them together. But I thought the guy pointing and yelling would be I should have known the guy pointing and yelling is the lieutenant. He's the green guy pointing and yelling. Whereas this guy's just like, I've got so many guns.
Okay, I have my
All the
stream up on my
guns.
phone and turned down, so if there's any more comments, I will be able to see them now.
Oh,
All right, so I'm gonna.
looks like it was Candace was having some verbal sparge with us over the internet that we missed.
Oh no, we missed it.
Like now, I'm actually
I'm
sad
very
we missed the
sad.
comments. So
I'm super sad.
so
I'm sorry.
you keep it up on my stream. I will keep your comments in mind and we will respond to you. I promise.
So I'm going to start out with some Bale-Tan green shade here, and I'm going to paint this over all of my orc skin.
Oh, wait! You just do like a full wash all over?
Going to do a full wash, and I'll start with
Wow.
one of these brighter pieces to show you. What this will do is it's going to reclaim some of my shadows and my colors.
Oh wow, that instantly pops it. God, I love these new shades and
if you get too much, it's easy to
washes.
just, I did it on purpose. I can just pull it right off with a
Yes,
dry brush.
apparently, she said she does not RPG without pretty graphics, so that's why she won't play D&D with us.
Oh man, 3D is too low res.
She's thinking in 4D.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, I can't
tell her,
believe
like,
how cool it is.
Warhammer 40k is just like playing Brimstone. I mean, they're almost identical. Yeah, you can see how much of those shadows and details and how much it's normalized all that green back now.
Yeah, it just it kind of takes that matte, gives it a real 3D finish to it. I really like the way that it pops and really sinks in. Now, see, when I'm using the Bale-Tan, I don't do the same thing because I need to keep my bright coloring with that warpstone. So when I'm using it, as you taught me, telling the people, not you necessarily, but that I'll be going into the individual like small lines like along the helmet and like kind of like here. My finger's too big. Got to get a point and stick. So like here along the helmet, I can bring some of these lines and like on the shoulder and here. I can bring these lines back to life with that kind of that deep green ink without having to go over it with something that's going to change the texture of the paint itself. So that'll be very nice.
Take my glasses off so I can actually see now.
All right, so the rest of my Primaris. So it's funny I think of it as a Primaris army, even though because well, I guess it will be now that I have uh, more Primaris things because
The
a big chunk of my army is scouts and tactical squad, which we're going to be able to eliminate the tactical squad because they are just too expensive for what they are. They don't have 2 wounds; they just drop like flies, and they don't have access to anything but bolt guns and one heavy weapon, which would be a flamer or one special weapon. I mean, what do I want to paint next? Ooh, should I try? Should I try one of the aggressors?
Yeah,
Yeah. All
absolutely.
right, we're doing this.
That big Gravis armor is going to have some really beautiful effects with with that wet brushing. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
and like oh man, so these are some of my favorite figures in the Primaris army. They've got this big
Oh,
chunky
so cool.
armor. This is the lieutenant because let's start big. Why not? And these ones are the flamethrower variant, which are really good but also really bad. uh, they're they're limited range on the flamer. So for those who don't know the game, flamer will auto hit, so you don't have to roll dice to see if it hits anybody because you're not shooting them; you're hitting them with a flamethrower. You don't have to be too accurate. And so he can fire one out of each hand. And so you use his weapon profile twice, it automatically hits, and you just have to roll to see if it wounded the person. The only problem is it only has an 8-inch range, and on a table, that can be a big problem. But with the new transports and everything that I'm gonna have access to, uh, that could solve that problem very well. So I could just basically
Actually,
run in, drop these guys on somebody, and then just watch them run out in flames. So
that's actually something I've been thinking about because I will have those guys and be facing the same tactical dilemma. 1v4chan, I think, if I remember correctly, actually prefers the Bolt Storm.
yep, the Bolt Storm is actually much better on the table, especially if you're not running. Like the only reason it like I could be better for me once I get my delivery system is the Flamecraft stratagem that I have access to that you wouldn't have access to. Other than that, the Bolt Storms are just better. They're just better.
So the reason why I would probably still hang with the Fire Gauntlets is because they would be in my mixed Primaris kill teams, my Fortis. I think they're called Fortis kill teams, which means
Ooh.
that they are deterrent to being charged, because there would only be one or two of them. And as far as like the charge range and stuff, I mean, it's only during the deep strike and so forth that you're really going to be suffering from that 9-inch charge range, because statistically that is a very difficult roll to make for most armies. So
And
I
isn't
think
worth.
playing very aggressive with the aggressors or using them for flat ass baseline. Because I mean, if the charge doesn't go off, you move in your next turn and you flame the shit out of them. And then if they
Well,
want to charge, who cares? Because you get Overwatch and you'll get power weapons.
and the thing about make trying to make a charge is you take all of the Overwatch, which is that unit firing at your unit who's trying to run in. You take that first, and so you could lose half your unit, and then you roll the dice and find out you didn't even make the charge, and you just died for nothing. And
It
then the next
definitely
turn they step forward, they flame the crap out of you, and your unit's pretty much dead by then, unless you got
Yeah,
like
it
really
definitely
strong.
is a scary thing, and although I understand why this isn't a thing, I really wish that units that had a really huge movement radius had a little bit more of a bonus to their charge, because it doesn't make sense that my Gene Stealers moved 35 inches last turn and they missed a 5-inch charge. Like I'm like, but I also understand that
Um,
not having that be there would be very difficult for anyone else to even match a very fast army.
There are certain units who do have a special ruling where they'll roll. So to make a charge, you roll
Yeah, my
2d6.
5-inch orcs can roll 3d6.
There you go. Yeah, they roll 3d6, and then do you keep the top two, or do your orcs just get to keep all three?
No, I'm sorry, that's not right. I roll 2 and I can re-roll one or both dice on a failed charge.
That's pretty darn good.
That's the here we go rule
There
for
we
here we
go.
go.
There we go. Get in the fight, eh? Actually, I imagine the orcs just like the most entertaining fucking things to watch. Like
They're basically soccer hooligans.
I would love to see a movie like like any Primaris movie or um, like Space Marine movie, I would kind of just want to see the orcs fight. Like, yes, it'll be dramatic cinematically to see like the Tyranids and the epic battle of like kind of like alien style and everything. But I would just love to see, oh, we're gonna crush them and we're gonna kick them in the taints and we're gonna eat their fleshes. You know, it's a bit weird color, but that's okay. Oh, we're just gonna believe harder than they believe and kill them harder than they kill us. You know, like just that fucking
They came
amazing.
here on white turf, and we told them zog off, and we gotta give them a good crumping. What proper?
What proper crumping right in the face, yeah? Like, just fucking amazing. And the
Love it.
fact that their entire belief system is, like, legitimate, like, the harder they believe in something, the more it
The more it
works.
happens.
Oh, red goes faster, you gotta paint it red. And then they paint it red, and it literally goes faster. It's so cool.
Such is an orc's belief system.
And that's
A good
why
day for an orc is to wake up and have a fight. A great day is to have two fights.
they are the secret rulers of this universe. They are the
Indeed. In
only
fact, this
ones
universe
happy.
could only be their heaven.
Yep. Like, let's say, you know, there might be something to this whole Mork and Mindy, I mean, Orc and Mork controlling everything. Had to be done at some point, I'm sorry.
Oh god, yes.
Nano, nano. Can you imagine?
Nano nano.
Oh, yeah. So you paying attention to your chat, making sure you're.
It's totally blank.
Okay, good.
I scared them off.
That is the main thing you gotta do. Scare them off.
Scare them off?
Yeah. So, the aggressor was airbrushed with the base coat, which is really nice of my buddy Ferris to do. The only thing is, since this is a blue model, there are a few parts where it was really hard to get like this back and inside of his hands with an airbrush. So I'm just going back and I'm going to go over those details a little bit and finishing off his base coat before I dive into painting him proper.
I'm almost done with my ink layer here, and then I'll go back to some of the ones that are dry, and we can take a look, and then that's where I'll switch into a detail brush and just reinforce some of those really bright highlights on the face because I want that to be the focal point of the miniature.
Very nice. And for the eyes, do you do white eyes or yellow eyes for orcs?
Red.
Oh, red eyes. Okay, I didn't.
Red orcs have beady red eyes.
Oh, I guess I knew that. And you know, where are these particular orcs going to fit in your army? Are they just some boys? What are they? What are they going to be doing?
These is knobs.
These
And an
gnomes.
orc society is totally based around the one fundamental principle of might makes right. So the bigger the orc, the more that they are in charge. And as orcs go through, they're like Saiyans. Like the more they fight and live, the stronger they get. And so the more important the orc, the bigger that they are, and the bigger they are, the more important that they are. So these are the knobs are right below the warlord.
Oh wow.
They are the ones where the next warlord will probably come from. They are the ones who may even challenge the warlord from time to time. And oops, dunk, just dropped stuff everywhere. All right, I think I got everything. Oh, I gotta get my grot. Me grot oiler lets me re-roll hits.
It's pretty good. And I know we talked a lot about rerolls, but they are a really important aspect of the game nowadays. I don't know if they always have been so prominent, but the prominent featuring of them, I feel, is a step in the right direction. Just because with reroll rules, you feel less screwed by dice and more like my tactic didn't work or my particular unit didn't do what wanted it to do. And for the best part is you feel like you can learn from the game more rather than, oh well dice screwed me. If the dice had rolled right, I would have totally won. Like, it kind of breaks some of that false confidence up.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these faces that I've.
Sounds good. I'm gonna pop yours up because I'm waiting for that aggressor to dry. Okay, so perfect. We got your faces. They're a little tiny bit out of focus.
Let me reach up here and just press the.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that's
beautiful. Yeah, so there's the new inked face there.
Damn.
And you can see that it's pulled back all the shadows and so forth, and now I have this nice And I have to admit, I think I'm fairly happy with it. It's very subtle,
Hmm.
but my other works could be accused of having too big. I mean, actually, on camera, it shows up really nice because you can
Yeah,
see the top of his head and his upper lip and his bottom chin there are all much brighter, and we've got nice, deep, dark shadows.
yeah.
So I'll come back with that moot green and just do like, his lips and his eyebrows and his nose on all of these, and then that'll be that, and like the tips of his fingers, and then all the flesh will be done.
That's pretty damn impressive, I gotta say. Like, flesh is one of the harder things, in my opinion, to get right, no matter which one you're doing. And so it's really kind of neat to see that you found a good method of doing it.
Yeah, it's actually worked out. Like I said, this is kind of what made me really go, you know what? I think I'll keep pushing on this airbrush because, um, I'm very happy with the results that I've gotten, and I'm kind of excited to go further with these here too.
Very nice.
I'm also going to put on my eyes because it's just too hard to see some of these things. And
I need me one of
yeah, I
those.
found out. I feel old, and my wife makes fun of me all the time for having these on, and I'm actually being seen in public with them now, so I might be
Well
facing
done.
a divorce. Um, but when you're painting really fine detail, I found out that more miniatures that film are actually doing this than not,
Nice.
and it really makes it a lot easier to focus in some of those details.
Who knows? Maybe she'll see it, and from this angle she'll be like, ooh, and then be into it, and then you're like,
Mm,
and then you have to wear them even more, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna use my wet. Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna use my wet palette right here because I simply don't have enough room with all of my lights and stuff. Um, so I'm going to just use a regular palette here and just do a little bit of highlighting.
Nice. I just rolled my brush across my wet palette, so I got paint on everything. Well done, Ty. Shut up, other Ty. That's what I thought. No. And
All
so,
right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just. Am I coming up on screen? Oh, perfect. I'm going to come in just with a full moot green, and I'm going to just catch his lip here.
oh wow, that moot green is some delicate stuff. So you're doing it. It's kind of impressive watching the highlights just jump out as you're going through.
Oh, thanks. And like I said, I just want to hit some like his, the outline of his nose here on the top, and his cheekbones here, and the top of his brow.
Wow.
And then I'm just gonna hit a little bit of his ears.
Now, how do you get your ink your bristles to stay in that nice cone while still being able to paint?
Um, what you want to do is when you put it in your palette, you want to kind of roll your brush a little bit to get that fine tip on there. So as I put it in the paint, let me move this over here. I'm actually getting the paint and then I'm rolling it against the thing to
Oh,
reform that tip every time.
very nice.
Um, and yeah, that's about what I'm gonna do right there. So you can see it just brings a little bit more attention to his face.
Yeah,
Everything's green right now, so it's hard to be able to actually see that. But there you go.
it's very expressive faces, which is nice.
Hmm. And that's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do just a very small amount to their faces and maybe any other spots that I think could benefit. So
Nice. And, congratulations, Albino, getting a second place in the Apex Legends with a 14-year-old and a lever. That's the way to do it.
nice job.
Have you tried the game yet? Have you had a chance
Not
to?
yet, no.
Oh man, free to play and fun as hell. It's basically a.
Anthem is coming out this weekend, so I'm actually kind of been saving my game time for that.
Oh yeah, well I was gonna say it's free to play in case Anthem sucks. Um, so that's really I've heard kind of really a bunch of mixed stuff about Anthem. What have you been hearing?
I haven't really been reading a lot of reviews. I've just been watching stuff and going, you know what? I think that's time to give something that a try.
Nice. And you still
And
doing?
just so you know,
Oh yeah.
too, here I'm not painting these at full strength. These colors have been diluted. They've been transferred to the smaller bottles, and so they've already been pretty heavily diluted.
Oh really?
Yes, which is fantastic. Like I cannot express enough how much pain and suffering I've gone through all these years by not having like a flow controller or a proper acrylic thinner.
Nice. Oh, apparently, one of your buddies played the beta or the alpha and said it was awesome, and Gary has also shown interest, according to our
Oh,
comments
there!
section.
I have a comment now. Nerds is what I got for a comment.
Hey!
Nerds.
Nerds! Yes, we are. I think that's about as power nerdy as you can get.
Yeah,
Is
it's up
Warhammer.
there. Yeah, it's up there.
I
I would
mean,
still put D&D above it.
I don't know. D&D at least. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot more.
D&D just costs less.
There's a lot more math in Warhammer, which instantly makes it even nerdier. And not only that, Warhammer, you have in D&D you don't necessarily have to have figurines or anything, and you don't have to paint them.
That's
So
true. I have a screen dedicated to them. Yeah, that's very true.
it's much easier to get people to play D&D than it is to get them to play Warhammer. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, because I don't have to spend $1 million.
1 million. No, even when I offer people, oh, you can play my other army. I got two armies. You could be Chaos or you could be the Primaris. It's gonna be fun. No, it's cool. No, it's fine.
Did you unfriend me?
What's that?
Did you unfriend me?
What the hell? I'm blocked? Come on. So, I notice the orcs have like these big horns and helmets and stuff that they put on a lot of things. Do they have naturally occurring horns, or is it just like a kind of like an aesthetic of the army?
It's an affectation, yeah.
Okay.
I don't believe any orcs have, in this universe, have...
Naturally occurring horns.
Yeah, right, that's pretty good. And I don't think... I guess I could do a little bit. They have such beautiful corded muscle here. But I'm also worried about, offsetting my... You know what? I'm not gonna.
I was gonna say I don't know where would be a good place to do it. That would.
Yeah, I'm gonna not do any more than that because I want their faces to be nice and bright.
Perfect.
And to go from there. All right.
Do a nice big close up on your. Oh, dang it! Missed it by that much.
All right, so that is going to be my skin color.
That's perfect.
And let's figure out where we want to go from here. Probably go back in with blacks or the other things. In fact, I think I might actually switch things around so I can get my wet palette over here.
So with the assembly on those, is that going to affect where the overall shading ends up? Like, if you're not careful, can you get like a arm that looks like it's the sun coming over here, and a head looks like the sun's coming up from over here?
I imagine so, but when that person magically appears, I will sit them down and make them teach me how to fix it.
Perfect. All right, so for those who don't know, the wet palette, like I was saying earlier, is this nice sponge that you put a layer of paper over that you use as the actual palette, and that sponge will keep your paint nice and moist longer, so that way you can use it to paint more, and you can get more out of your Citadel or whatever paints you're using.
It also helps with your consistency quite a bit, and you can basically just close it up and your paint will be a little bit more durable. Like I said though, like I definitely would consider reaching out for a flow improver for acrylic or a thinner, acrylic thinner, because it made a huge difference.
Oh, your palette is quite a bit wetter than mine. Is that how wet it should be? This is my first time using
it should be pretty wet. You don't want like a sloshing layer of water on top, but you do want, you want to be fairly wet.
Okay.
But again, it's kind of up to you. If you're having success now, I mean, don't.
Oh man, I can just imagine.
This is essentially parchment paper too, or palette paper, huh?
No,
I'm only seeing my comments.
Oh no, I was imagining the comments that come with, it's supposed to be a little. There's so many things we could put there. There's so many things.
It's a moist, giving,
moist,
service.
wet. You gotta kind of finger it down a little. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Don't spit on it. No. Oh man.
Woo!
Oh yeah. So what point are you gonna put the Grot's arms on it? Are you gonna wait till the very end, or are you gonna do it now and then?
The knobs arms.
Yeah, the knobs arms. I mean, yeah.
Um, Really, what I'm looking to do now is to paint their chests. Because some of them have a fairly, wide weapon setup
Mm-hmm.
like that, so they could actually. I'm seeing a lot of areas that I missed with that green too, but like where they actually have a fairly wide set where they won't be in front of it. But other weapons like the big chopper here, that really
Chopper.
goes back. Yeah, that really goes in front of his body right there. See.
Okay. So as long as you can keep it clear of the body, so you can get the body done completely, and then maybe after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So somewhere after that, and then so yeah, now I got to figure out what I want to do for my color scheme.
I just realized I'm gonna go ahead and lock the room real quick, just in case somebody figures out that it's not very hard to get into this room because it says it in the upper left-hand corner. So ignore
Oh
that link.
yeah.
It's locked. No one try to get in here. That would be very rude. Wow, thank God nothing hilarious happened between that and that.
Yes, indeed.
Could
Yeah.
have been very bad.
Let's see. What colors do I want to do? I think I'm going to start out. My new favorite colors right now are Rhinox Hide and Doombull Brown.
Which one's Rhinox side?
Um, Rhinox Hide is a beautiful, rich, reddish brown that's very, very, very dark. And where the heck was it? Come here. Now I have all these different height bottles. They're all getting in the way. I'm going to have to make some kind of stadium seating to make this bit easier.
I love how organized your stuff is, and then mine is just literally like strewn about my desk. Like,
well, I put a lot of work and OCD into getting this organized. Maybe we'll do a walkthrough of our work area. So these are the two colors. The one on the left is Rhinox Hot, or is it backwards on my screen? Is this my right side finger right there?
Yeah, that's your right on my screen.
Weird, it's backwards on mine. Anyways, the darker color, I'll just wave the one. This is Rhinox Hide, and this is Doombull Brown, and they're just a beautiful base color for all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to start with those. I think what I'll do is I'll go through with the Rhinox Hide and paint their pants.
Okay.
So
paint their pants, paint their pants. I'm going to take a look real quick, and I'm going to check out your stream. Hogan works, Hogan works. Just going to check out one thing real quick. Just kind of curious to see what it looks like from your end. Yeah, you trying to decide on which brush to use? Oh, Jeff, did you?
Currently?
Oh,
what? Sorry.
I thought you
got
froze.
my brush. I'm going to use a Citadel base brush. There we go.
Perfect.
I need to fix the autofocus on this so it has less of a sweet spot. And then I'm just going to shake this up, put a dollop on my wet palette here. In fact, let me move these over a little bit so it's a bit easier to see what I'm doing. And then I will thin them out.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a beautiful, rich chocolate. And so I'm just going to take a...
Now, is that that seems like it's darker than the dryad bark, correct?
Like, I don't have dryad bark, so I am not too sure about that. And I'm actually gonna put a little bit of my airbrush thinner on here because it's just so good.
Yeah, so the dryad bark, yeah, it's definitely is a little darker if you see this.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
All right, so that's kind of the color right there.
Looking good.
And then yeah, I'm just gonna go through here and paint some pants.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna get these aggressors are about dry.
Refocus this here real quick too, so I've got a better.
Go ahead and keep at
from where.
Warp start class, shaking the crap out of the paint. No. That is one tip. Shake the crap out of your paint and be very careful in opening it, because the bottles can and will fly wherever the hell they want.
Oh man, adding a little bit of that airbrush thinner makes these paints So much better. Oh, look at that nice smooth butt.
Existential crisis, pain in a butt.
Where's my life going? Painting a butt.
So what's your hobby? Oh, I paint butts.
I'm a doctor.
Your hobby's being a doctor? No, I just felt like I needed to add that after telling you I paint butts.
You get it.
A doctor of what? That's not important.
Proctology?
A doctor of I don't have to answer your questions.
So yeah, that's a nice rich red, brown.
Oh, wow.
It's gonna be a great color for these guys' pants.
Very nice. That's one of my models as he was drawing is like significantly darker than the others, so I'm gonna have to go over him with another light coat of this warpstone green. It's a lovely color that we have here. A nice bright green that almost appears to live up to its name and glows a little bit as we add it onto the model. You can see it quite lovely there. You just get those nice brush strokes. You can do a little bit broader here. And if I was English, my voice would be amazing all the time. Oh, and then I'd also live closer to the Warhammer factory and probably would have gotten into this much
Yeah,
earlier.
you have games workshops and tournaments and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Apparently, the Las Vegas Open was this big tournament, and Chaos did really well.
Hooray!
So that was really good to hear. And like one of the big one of the big winners that was in first for a long time was just a cultist blob with like Araman and a few Zangars.
That's funny.
And we're talking like 128 cultists.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
When your Chaos Army is relying upon its cannon fodder to win games.
that's my thing. Is like something needs to be redone. Which, I mean, if we're gonna get a new Abaddon model, shows hope for maybe a re-release of the Codex Space Marine, Chaos Space Marine, since it was one of the first that came out.
Yeah, the power creep has definitely kind of left it in the dust, huh?
A little bit, yeah. It does feel like it has something to be desired still. And like I said, it's not that you can't win. It's just that your units are all so specialized that if your plan doesn't just go to plan, it goes to pot.
Go to plan or go to pot. And one thing I have to be super careful of is now all this beautiful green flesh.
Yeah.
If I paint over it or glitch on it, I'm in deep doo doo.
I could definitely see
It
that
will be
becoming a
difficult
problem.
to fix.
It's funny, the in my webcam, since it's not the best. Like the ones that are green are like clearly green now, and the old like this is still green, but it's so like lackluster. It just looks gray in comparison.
Oh yeah, show me. Have you got one of your aggressors now? Oh, you're letting it dry because you have to rebase it, right?
Yeah, didn't have to like completely. I was just gonna get up some of us, but yes, this first one is ready to be done. So we're gonna dive into him real quick as the other one dries. Um, so we'll see. Fingers crossed. These are, like I said, some of my favorite models in the army. So I really want to get them right. Is the main thing. All right. So again, like I said, I'll start near the feet. Um, really excited to get these aggressors done because everything in this army just looks so much better once it gets its bright warpstone green to it.
It is a pretty profound effect.
Like he looks like he's just he's just mired in green now as it kind of we work our way up the body for him. And that is one thing that's very nice about having a Space Marines army that is a nice bright color. Is it's really easy to see where you mess up or you forgot like a bit. And then you have this bright, lively color, and then against this kind of dull background. Like there's certain like the Chaos Space Marines, like everything's based in pretty much black, and then you gotta. I wonder if his base will fit in this. Hold on. And then so when you're building on top of it, it's actually harder to see. Oh, let's see if I can get the bigger base one. There we go. Um, oh, that's so much easier. It's based in black, so like when you miss a piece, it's
Yeah, it's just
something
black.
harder. Yeah, it's like it's black now. Yeah,
It's
chaos.
not a bug, it's a feature.
Dude, chaos is the ultimate. It's not a bug. It's a feature. He doesn't have an arm. Yeah, of course he doesn't. He's chaos.
It's a feature.
It's a feature. Life. It's not a bug. It's a feature.
Boo.
So do you think we're, everything else in the universe being perfectly able to be explained by math except for consciousness fucking everything up? Are we a computer virus?
Well, we certainly seem to follow that same property. Expand into a new area, breed, consume all the resources until we have to move on.
On the other
Survive.
side, since we're the only ones able to define life, and is it up to us? Do we get to choose? Are we the user or are we the virus?
The virus.
Speak for yourself. I'm not a virus, I'm a person.
But I will say that by our actions, we can change our
Status to more of a
nature.
symbiotic relationship.
Indeed.
Hell yeah. Be a symbiote, don't be a virus. Get out there.
Don't be a virus!
Don't be a virus. Get out there, do things, join your community. Have a wonderful time. Don't pollute.
Give a hoot.
Give a hoot, don't pollute. I shall come for you, I'll find you, and I'll do suplex on your dog. Something you actually care about. If you don't care about your dog, kill yourself. Because if you don't
I
kill
see you on
about your
YouTube,
dog,
you jump off of buildings for no good reason.
yeah, why do you do this? Oh, I did it for the views. I did it so you would know my name is now a legitimate motivation.
Yeah.
Because you can make money with a name now.
I did it all for the cookies.
Did it all for the Wookiee. Chewbacca, the Wookiee. Chewbacca. Oh, man. I actually saw the Solo movie, and it wasn't a travesty. It was just politely inoffensive.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't, like, amazing, but it wasn't, like... It's like, you didn't fuck up anything. Which, for a Star Wars movie lately, is kind of nice.
Yeah, the standards have to be pretty low.
The only thing I would say, the pace was utterly insane, so you couldn't really think about anything too long. It was just like, this is happening.
That was
This
part
is
of the
happening.
plan.
Yeah. It definitely had the feel of, shut up, have fun.
All right, so
Which
I got
can't
that
work.
base covered. Rhinox hide. Done.
Noise.
That very pretty.
Get those pants on him.
See.
Man, this guy's a
Come off
little
camera.
bit... Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, he's coming together. That is one thing about the Primaris army. As far as painting goes, this is the noobest painting army you can have. It's going to be funny when you start painting yours. You're going to be like, I can't believe how easy this is. And I kind of hate you for not having to do the pants on every single dude.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where this camera should be to get my hand position because I like. That's too far.
You've taken it too far.
I want to be over here. All right. There we go. That should be a good position for my hand. Okay. All right. So let's see. I guess I should go in with black. Overall, my metal, it's... grab some Abaddon black here.
You say Abaddon? I say Abaddon.
I think Abaddon is correct. I just can't help myself.
Okay.
You know, when I was a kid, I never had a class in pronunciation. And because I'm such a prolific reader, my vocabulary is built completely around what I've read and its meaning and context. So I have trouble with pronunciation. I tend to, um, yeah, have
I
strange ways of pronouncing things.
I have the same thing with a lot of words actually, where I'll just
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I'll never think about it being said any other way. It's just I read it that one way, and that's the way it is. Yeah, like and then
What
somebody would be like, "Why are you saying it that way?" I'm like, hmm?
are
"Oh,
you
it's
talking about?
you know
Yeah.
the cordial cherries."
People who get a huge amount of delight from correcting you, that's get the irritating part. It's like, shouldn't I be applauded for
Like my thing, I don't get is
what I've done to learn, you know?
well, what I don't get is people who correct to take joy in it rather than correct to inform. Like I get correcting to inform, that's one thing, but correct to like give yourself a small security
Smug.
porter a complex for like 20 seconds. They're the same people who think that they're opening people's eyes by pointing out which their or your or whatever. Like, oh, you
Yeah,
didn't know.
seriously.
Oh, you're using the wrong one. And it's like, dude, fuck you. I just like somebody made a simple mistake. You're not better than them. They're not an idiot. Somebody made a simple mistake, and that's the end of the story. But that
Yep.
doesn't serve your story, does it? Like, here we go. Look at this green mofo right here.
Oh my goodness, that looks fantastic.
Really popping now, yeah.
Yeah, super, super nice.
Before and after. Look at how much brighter and more alive that he looks. This is way better. Super happy with that.
Very, very, very nice.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm getting a little jealous. I'll have to get some of my new Deathwatch Primaris out so I can paint Space
Oh
Marines
yeah.
with you.
Well, if you want, you can always come down. Oh, we can do a live show. Do a battle report. That sort of thing. Bring your terrain with you.
Definitely
No.
want to do. Yeah, I yeah, we have already been planning out our games table that I'm going to build, and I will have a multi-part series up
On how to build the table.
um,
That's awesome.
on how to build that. It'll be out of wood, and it will be a big, beautiful, full-size table and fully terrain game mats, everything. The Woiks.
Oh, you're doing the weeks, eh? No.
Yes, very, very excited. Probably move that up in the production schedule of things to build around the house.
Oh yes. How are the house buildings coming along? Everything still going a little smoothly?
Fantastic. Yeah, actually, we got a bunch of the kind of the filler equipment, filler furniture from IKEA. So we have some display cases and bookcases and more storage that's behind me over here now, which has really been great. Um, we cleaned the garage. All the boxes and everything in the garage are out, and we put our gym in there. So now a big
Oh,
section of that
perfect.
huge garage
Oh,
is
wait,
now our own gym because we don't want to have to leave the house for anything.
I can't can I blame you? No, I cannot. I don't think anybody can. And leaving the house
So very
is
excited.
overrated.
Widely overrated. So yeah, it's going fantastic, and we're really moving along, and we're very happy.
That's pretty badass. Like I'm really
Yeah.
excited for you guys. I can't wait to be able to find some time to come and see it for my own
Oh,
eyes.
absolutely, absolutely. Love, love to have you guys come and stay with us for a bit, and Meredith and Candace can just run away from the house, and we will pollute 4 square miles with our geeky kiss.
It'll just be the nerds prolific. Hello there.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to once I base this guy. I'm gonna have to put a little bit of extra like terraining under his foot because it's hovering just a little bit. So I'll just kind of
Yeah,
crush some under there so it can get nice and in there. And
I Biovore the other night and realized that he was very off balance as well. So I will be doing the same thing.
very nice.
I'll have to do a video on basing and stuff too.
Oh yeah. Which army are you most apprehensive about painting?
I would have to say my Tyranids. I am hoping that my airbrush skills will advance to the point where that will not be so. That because they're so organic, um, that I'm really am hoping that the airbrush will really help me accomplish that army to a very nice high degree of standard. You know.
Very nice. Yeah. Which one are you most proud of so far?
Well, the army I painted the most is my orcs. I like my unit of Wraithguard and Dreadnought that I've done for the craft world, and I have one solitary little Imperial Guardsman, Astra
Who
Militarum,
looks
painted.
amazing.
Although I'm very happy with him. Yeah, I'm super happy. Um, the new basing that I came up with for my Craft World Elder, I'm very, very, very happy with too. And I've actually been going through and improving upon the desert terrain for my orcs for their basing as well. So
Very
yeah,
nice.
I can't say more that I'm proud of anything because I have not painted
They're not evenly
enough.
finished enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
To be able to kind of
which are you looking forward to getting on the table most?
that changes from day to day. Yeah, you know who I've been reading about, who I'm excited about, um, who I want to play. You know that changes from day to day to day.
Okay.
Orcs, I mean, are super fun. I mean, Death Watch is the newest army, so of course, you know, I really want to get them
Grab.
assembled and playing. The problem is up here is that there really is no one to play with. The local hobby store has a like at the last Saturday of every month is the only day, and they have a little tournament, and that is it.
Oh, did you
Um,
miss January's?
yeah. Plus, it's not. I want just kind of more of a an ad hoc. You know, I don't know.
You don't want to play with random assholes.
Yeah, I want to get to know some people
There
and
you go.
be able to kind of choose and so forth, like what you found down there in Reno. You know, you really got some amazing groups, good people to play with. You know, I've only met Ferris, of course, who's fantastic. Um, but it sounds like you've got a really good group of people down there.
Yeah, it's really funny actually. They started out as my Pathfinder group, which is, for those of you who don't know, a basically D&D at one point around third edition. Gary Gygax, the creator of D&D, said it's fine, it's finished, it's done. We're not doing any more editions. It's perfect. This is as good as it's gonna get. But
Yeah.
and then so
Then marketing came in and went,
well, actually no. Then the company making it went under and got bought up by Wizards of the Coast, who bought all of the things that was associated with them, including Dungeons and Dragons. And they're like, well, this is nice and everything, but it's not inclusive enough. It's really hard. There's a lot of rules for so very many minute things that most players aren't interested in using, and we have a lot of people on our staff who doesn't even use these rules. We think we can do better, so we're going to release a new edition. And so there are some people who are like, oh, okay, cool, new edition. It was fourth edition, which they're going to try to incorporate more, which to a lot of people felt more video gamey, because it had a lot more modifiers, a lot more your positioning mattered a lot more, and it got kind of more based around combat than anything else. And a lot of people took this as fucking heresy. You do not. Gary Gygax said it was done, and now he's dead, and you're releasing a new edition. Fuck you. Fuck this. Fuck everything. Burn it to the ground. But part of it was the original design team. God, was didn't come with the assets for Dungeons and Dragons. And so
hmm.
in the interim, while it was being transferred from one company to another, they were like, "Well, we're gonna screw you. We're gonna make our own Dungeons and Dragons with hookers and blackjack," and went off and created Pathfinder. So Pathfinder is basically what most people consider D&D 3.5, edition. So it has a lot of the
Hmm.
same mechanics and stuff as the third edition, and then they just basically were doing that and we're expanding upon it, and so just basically making it bigger and better and um, adding more options rather than changing any of the mechanics and retooling the entire game like they do with the other editions of D&D. Um, so when the Pathfinder they broke off and they created their own game, and so when I was first starting into tabletop RPGs, I got invited to play a Pathfinder game, and so those are the same group of guys who ended up being into Warhammer, and we're like, hey, come play with us. We'll let you use our models. Blah 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 blah. Blah. And then I was like, oh, this seems fun. And then you're like, hey, here's a bunch of models. And I'm like, oh god, okay. And then I started collecting and started playing and painting, and here we are.
Here we are.
I don't know what the point of all of that was, but I just felt like story time, I guess.
No, no, it's great. Yeah, my first edition of Dungeons and Dragons was 4E.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my, yeah, because yeah, that would have been 4E. Yeah, and I'm sure you've noticed the difference between 4E and 5E and how much I'd say simpler 5E is, but also how I think 5E serves more storytelling, where 4E serves more combat,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
That makes
So
sense.
a lot of dungeon masters are actually using a combination of 4E and 5E. So they'll bring in things they liked from 4E, like I know a lot of them, myself included, like to do challenges basically, where you think of a way to use your skills, and then you get a roll for that skill, and then if you get so many successes before you get so many failures, you succeed at what your group is trying to do, and then if you get too many failures before you get enough successes, same thing. And so
Interesting.
yeah, it's another way to bring skills into the game. But anyway, this is not a D&D stream. I apologize. This is
No,
a
it's totally fine.
Warhammer stream.
We're
But
just chatting.
just chatting. But one of the nice things about Warhammer that I've been noticing is, well, it has had 8 editions of the game. The core concept of the game has stayed very similar, as far as what you do, and positioning is always going to be king, um, over everything else. I don't care what edition it is. In my opinion, your positioning and your like how you play the game can be this very similar from edition to edition. It's just your army's what your army's specialty is and what they're good at might change. So you might have to adapt the army a little bit from edition to edition, but you can at least get once you learn your units and know how they play, you can pretty much from edition to edition. You can go from 2 to 8 and still not feel like you're lost alone in the forest. Just going from 4 to 5 in D&D is so wildly different. It blows my mind. All right, aggressor
Yeah,
number 2.
definitely. Especially lately, the new beta rules for deep striking and prepared formations, I think have really fixed the problem with the alpha strike and the first turn domination.
Yeah,
Because in Warhammer 40,000 currently, getting the first turn, or using the traditional deep strike where you can, keep units off the board and then immediately put them on your first turn has created an atmosphere of just getting wiped out before you get to have your turn. And they've introduced these new rules that say, no deep striking, no infiltrators can appear until your second turn. And they've also given a new stratagem that's available to everyone called prepared formations, which gives everyone the benefit of a cover save on their turn that they did not go first.
yeah, which is an amazing stratagem, by the way. And every time I don't go first, I tend to use it now, just because
Yeah,
keeping
it's
your
worth it.
stuff, it's just worth it. Like it just creates like it just seems like a +1 to your cover saves, but statistically it saves so much.
Yeah, -1 is actually a very, very, very good modifier.
Yeah, I mean when you only when there's 6 units of hitting, six
Yeah.
6 degrees of being able to hit something, Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Fucking song has been stuck in my head. Sometimes to get a song out of my head, I'll just do permutations of it until it doesn't recognize the same song anymore, and it'll get it out that way.
I usually try to finish the song in my head and then just stop.
I can. This one way of doing it. Not as fun, but it works. Actually, it's probably 1,000 times more effective because then I'll just noodle around with a song forever until I'm doing a swing version of "Bodies Hit the Floor." Clearly. What's really bad is like sometimes you'll find a permutation that's really catchy, and then that'll be stuck in your head.
I know, then you'll be really boned.
Let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor. It's stupid, yo. So,
Let's see. So yeah, just going in here and doing some black. This dark gray gunmetal actually is really nice because the areas that are going to be painted actual metal, I'm not trying to be super accurate with the black because the variations in the two schemes might actually be interesting.
oh really? Hmm.
So I'm
So,
kind of
are you
just
doing gunmetal gray, or are you doing the actual what's it called, the silver?
I'm going to be using a combination of gold and silver. I'm going to be using metallics. I'm not going to be doing the
Metallics. Okay.
non-metal metallics. That's actually probably a little bit beyond me,
Same.
um, at least for the near future. Um, so I'm kind of blacking them out, and you can see the nice contrast is now coming in here
Oh
with the
wow.
blacks and so forth. And then once the colors start going on, this should be a nice showcase unit. Very excited.
Looking good, my dude. Don't forget to
Yeah.
check your comments every once in a while.
Oh shit! Hey, where did Twitch go? Hmm. No.
Do-do-do-do-do. Man, these aggressors are really showing me why you might want to like paint things before putting them together. Like I'm seeing all of these details that I don't have to deal with right now, but look like they're going to slowly become a nightmare to get to.
It's such a hard habit. I love assembling things because I want to see them and I want to pose them.
Yeah.
This is the first unit I've ever painted in pieces like this. It wasn't a vehicle, and I'm really happy about it. And I can see the discipline really is, open a box, get them partially assembled, paint them, finish them up, then you're done. That's going to be the discipline. But I have hundreds of models that still need to be painted that I've already assembled and put together. So
Yeah. Yeah, putting them together is literally my favorite part. Like easily.
I love putting them together too. But I also love painting them, and I like having an easier time painting them. So
There you go. Yeah, like you said, like we were talking about earlier, that I fucking painted this. Look at how good it looks. Holy shit, I'm God.
yeah,
Period.
the sense of accomplishment is very, very, very addicting when it comes to painting miniatures, and it's of course it's super nerdy, but at the same time, it's still a craft. You're still painting. You're still putting time and effort and practicing a skill and creating something artistic.
Yeah, and
Candace made an offhand comment about maybe being interested in painting terrain, so I've held her to it
hell
like a
yes.
blood signed deal.
Oh, dude, some of the terrain can be beautiful, and actually, one of the nice bits of terrain, like some of the statues, with that nickel oxide paint, are really amazing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've seen some of those in the main tutorial from Warhammer TV actually uses that as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, because you just get the basic that kind of coat, and then you can just do a nice extra coat of that nickel oxide and then thin it out really nicely to get like this rained on, amazing looking uh, statue. And you can even do it with like a
Super
copper
nice.
statue to kind of like
Maybe
a
we get verdigris.
statue of liberty of it. I like that we're streaming this because this is the main way both of our, well, for me, the main way my army is going to get painted. I just know it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I appreciate you and Candace both. Every time I do something, it's like, did you film it? This is actually the last thing before this. Priming these guys was the last thing I did where I did not film it. From now on, everything is going to be filmed. Not assembly because I did a couple of those just for testers, see to get the kind of the sound and the lighting and everything set up.
Yeah,
Unless I'm doing conversions or magnets or anything like that, I'm not going to do assembly. It's all going to be painting. Um,
any reason?
and
Or
with the way that looking back on these faces now that I have my eye off them for a while, I am very, very, very happy with these faces.
You should be. They look
Very, very, very
fantastic,
pleased.
especially considering the speed which you did them.
The speed at which they came together was very magnificent.
It's frankly
I'm not a
ridiculous.
pro. I know that they could be better. I definitely don't want to give the impression that I'm like, woo, look at me. But woo, look at me.
Dude, look at you. I'm throwing it out there. Like, that thing, these look really amazing, and you did them in such a short amount of time. Like,
I recommend looking into it.
whew,
Like I said, airbrushes are $50
yeah,
can get you a good airbrush, and the compressor um, probably is worth spending. I think mine was 90, and it's a really nice little compressor.
yeah.
So like I would put it on the schedule because just for setting things up, it's great, and obviously like it gets addicting super quick.
Smart. Very smart. Okay. I think I'm going to have to close up soon. My setup not being quite as good as yours. My back is starting to kill kill me. So
Oh, I'm hunched over like a little.
so I'm gonna.
All right, let
Oh,
me finish my black real quick, and then we
oh,
can sign off here.
okay, perfect. It's okay, love. I'll be done in a second. Did you just crush everything in that box? You screwed it up, didn't you, Meredith? So guilty. Oh, come on! You should be sorry. Oh, I ratted you out. I saw you in the camera behind me. Oh, Meredith accidentally. She was trying to get her laptop, which was buried, and she knocked a box um, full of Marines
Oh
stuff.
no!
That's okay. They're all fine. It's just everything slid to one end of the box.
I'm probably going to keep painting these guys, so I guess I.
Actually, I can sign off, and you can keep streaming. This is you. You are fully capable of streaming without me, and I think you should
Uh,
definitely.
I
Because
think what I will do is stop here. Like I said, I got one more boot to paint here. Hang on, Ty.
I'm in no hurry. It's just like I said, my back until I get a better setup, probably just a better chair. Really, I can only paint so much.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of painting to do, so I better figure that
Oh,
problem out.
oh yeah, yeah. I'll definitely have to be working on them more than just every Monday.
Yeah, today was my first day back to working out too.
Nice,
I'm
congratulations,
actually
man.
doing better than I thought. Thank you. Yeah, well, we got our nice gym set up, and a lot of the heavy lifting is done. I've been building furniture like mad. That's really been a lot of my exercise.
That's some good ass
Um,
exercise.
yeah, so assembling stuff and then carrying it up the stairs and everything. So, all right, I'll go right there. And let me clean my brush up here. I need some dinner. I know that they've ordered food down there. I know this.
I mean
Oh, one
that.
more thing to take a look at getting here too.
Yeah,
Brush cleaner.
brush cleaner.
Yeah,
I was
it's
thinking
like a
about that.
brush cleaner and conditioner. You basically just a little bit of water, and it pulls out the last of that color. And on
Oh,
top of that, you basically it's like a gel. You can just kind of reshape your brush and then put it away, and then it's nice and crisp the next time you need it.
ooh, that is really nice. Yeah, some of my brushes are starting to get a little. They're not nearly as pretty as your brushes. So I'll have to keep that in mind. Can you show that one more time so I can see the brand and everything?
Oh yeah, sure. This is just local craft store.
The Masters Brush Cleaner and Preserver. Nice.
Yeah, good stuff. Very good stuff.
Whew. All right.
All
So
right. Good progress today.
yeah, dude.
So we need to figure out a schedule so we have this. I know you're going to be 4 to 6 is going to be kind of your time
Yep.
every day, right?
Yep. Every day.
Right on.
And on days, there might be days I get off earlier depending on work and everything, but that's the plan for now. And then you know, occasionally probably going a little later, if, hopefully. And then yeah, Tuesdays we're doing D&D. So that's the plan for Tuesdays.
Hmm.
And then Thursdays I'm gonna try to keep doing that Warhammer kind of talk, almost like podcast style, like you saw last Thursday. And
Hmm.
if you want to join us this Thursday, we're going to be talking about list building and everything.
Hmm.
I know I'm not particularly adept at the that aspect of it yet, and so I will be mostly asking questions this time around. I know, last time you were really active in chat, which made it easy on us, because you had a lot of questions that way. If you want to do that, it's up to whatever you're comfortable with, of course. Um,
Yeah, if you're okay balancing three people in the stream, we can do that. If that's a little bit difficult, I'll just type in the chat. That's totally fine.
oh no, no, three people. These three people I can see balancing pretty easily. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be. I'm trying to produce three YouTube videos a week. I could do like five. It's just more that I want. I'm going to start doing an intro, outro,
Yeah.
zoom ins, transitions. Like I want to, that's going to be the next step for these videos. And so I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of capping myself at three because then it'll take some time.
Oh no, we lost Jeff. Oh no, we lost everything. Oh my god. How did it come to this? Let's go. We're gonna go to this one. And we're back. This is one
All
problem
right, everyone. So
with a mouse
I'm
that
Hogan.
has a
That's Hitch.
left
I'm
click.
signing
Oh.
off. Can I unmute you?
Yeah, yeah. There's a real bitch
Nope.
about having this thing. It's this little thing
Now I can hear you.
that clicks it back. That's a back button, everybody. So I accidentally bump it
Oh,
every once in
very
a
nice.
while. So I just accidentally killed chat on it, and I was like,
Ah,
so with
here we
that
go.
though, I think
All right.
we good shit. We'll be doing a lot more of this hopefully, and it'll be good. I had a wonderful time. I hope you did too. And
I had a
catch.
beautiful time. Yep, yep.
Don't forget to catch Jeff at Hogan Works, his own Twitch channel, which is, of course, he's got the link for his YouTube at the bottom there, right? He will soon. For his Hogan Works, the Hogan Works at YouTube. Really easy to
Mhm.
find. You'll see kind of a cartoon of him, hard to miss. Although you're gonna have to update it with your new magnificent, glorious beard.
I guess that's right. Yeah, I guess I have to go in there and add the beard in there.
Mm.
But yeah, we're gonna have some branding and some more banners and stuff like that. We're gonna do some good stuff. Pick up some royalty free music or some of the paid stuff or some of the old stuff that Hitch made for me if I can find them. And we're gonna go from there. So lots of stuff coming. And then anytime that Hitch is available, we'll do these co-streams together, and I'll be streaming some more painting coming up too. So.
Oh yeah, and like I said, he's got
All
a
right.
lot planned. It's gonna be a really fun channel to watch. I know I'm gonna be excited for it. We'll catch y'all next time.
Adios.